my God. Hi. Oh my God. Welcome back, y'all, to the 280. I'm your host, Carson Buller, and I never thought I would miss something that took so much fucking work, but I mean, goddamn, here we are. It's been, I think, 2 months ish about since I've posted my very last episode, and it has been way fucking longer since I filmed an episode of the 280 before this one. I filmed this one very early April, okay, a week or two ago. I'm trying to pump it out relatively quickly. Before this one though, I had not recorded an episode since 2020 motherfucking 3, y'all. I recorded all 5 of my episodes in bulk, essentially. I recorded them from a time period of late October to early December, every single one. And then I started the editing process and all the graphics and all that. I started it during the winter break because I knew I'd have the fucking time to. And I knew I'd be able to actually get it all together. But this is, this setup has, uh, it's better. It's fucking better. I'm so excited for you guys to see how much better it's gotten. I have a 3 cam setup. I have a fucking live switcher, y'all. This episode is like 720p, but then I didn't realize I had HD qualities. I do now. So the quality of this episode isn't bad, but the quality of the next episode is going to be even fucking better. And I'm so excited for you to see it. But I I had to take a break because after filming all those episodes in bulk, I had to sit with, I think, about 15 to 20 hours of content of just me speaking with other people. And I had to stare at myself and I had to watch myself interact and I had to pick apart my flaws, my weird mannerisms, my even little shit that you don't recognize, like the amount that I touched my face or the amount that I would say ums and likes, which I still do and I probably will never fully get rid of, but I'm trying. I'm trying. And I it's hard just immediately having to into jump into a world where suddenly like you aren't a first person being, you know what I mean? Like when I am editing the 280 podcast, it's so fucking weird seeing myself like as a person because I don't I feel like I don't think of myself as a person. I feel like it's really easy to forget that like everybody that you interact with, like they see you as exactly as you see them. And like we know that that's not new information, but I don't think we really take that shit to heart. I don't think we really feel, like genuinely feel like we are like everybody else. It's hard to realize that you're just you are what everybody else is. You are the flaws that you see in other people. You're the good that you see in other people as well, but you are exactly what you love. You are exactly what you despise. You are all of it. You are all of it. And I had to take a real step back and realize that for myself. And I had to learn how to not pick myself apart so fucking much. And honestly, because I was picking myself apart so much, I kind of lost motivation because I was embarrassed at what I put out. It's hard to see yourself, but I've seen myself and like I'm cool. I'm fine with it now, ish, kind of. I don't know. I still kind of it's weird. Like I'm self conscious when like other people take pictures of me and like how other people are actively perceiving me. Like I think about that all the fucking time, but I I don't know why I'm not self conscious when I put random pictures of videos online. Like I don't know why I'm so comfortable freely air. Maybe it's because I'm doing it by myself. It is somewhat therapeutic and it's just I mean it's a fucking hobby. My guest that I have on this episode, of the guests that I've had, he and I are probably he's probably the closest that I've been with a guest prior to filming. Like I've had friends on, I've had people that I hang out with, I've had people that I know well, but I haven't had people that I know this well until this episode. And I really enjoyed being the way that we were able to poke and prod into each other's lives. Like it was having the type of people available to you or at your I don't want to say disposal because I don't think that's a good way to talk about people, but like you know what I mean, having the people at your fucking beckon at like request whatever. Just having people around you who you can sit down and you can really just you can air out shit that you don't even know that you thought. Like you can air out shit that you were feeling, but you hadn't stopped to actually consider it as a thought yet. Like people that you know so well that you are willing to communicate thoughts to them before you've even really communicated them to yourself. That's the type of episode that I feel like this was. And God, it's an incredible thing when you're able to when people I love when people know each other and they just let themselves be themselves. You know, I love people who just let you be, who let you talk, who let you speak and fucking hear you. And like they hear the shit that they agree with and they hype you up and they pump you up and they recognize you. They validate whatever the fuck you're feeling. They validate your loves and they validate your dislikes also. Or even if like you bring up something that you dislike and they like it, like there's an established situation where even though you have those differences, like you have the benefit of the doubt and you can really deep dive into whatever subject you're feeling and you can really I don't know. I feel like these types of relationships, like the relationships that I have with this man and my other close friends, these relationships are, in my opinion, these relationships are the way that you know yourself, that you learn yourself. I don't think you can do it by yourself fully. God, the rain is so fucking pretty right now. It's gonna be funny splicing this episode all together, and then I let the daylight give out as I'm recording, so the lighting is just gonna be so fucking random the entire episode. That's awesome. But this, I don't know, something about this episode, like sometimes people need to vent, and for a lot of people and a lot of men specifically, we let shit accumulate, and a lot of times we just don't have a way to air it out. And shit got aired. Shit got aired. And I think it got aired in a really constructive, productive, effective, sympathetic and empathetic sort of way. And I don't know. I don't know. We had fun. We giggled. We got into serious shit. Y'all, this is a good ass episode. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hope you find something genuinely meaningful out of this interaction because I feel like this interaction had some genuine meaning for both of us. It was solid. It was cool. This was a cool episode, and I just thanks for being here. And fucking here we go. What did I tell you about hitting the table?
Oh.
What did I just tell you?
Majority.
We just went over this and you're
Okay.
real professional over here.
Hey, I work at Walmart for crying out loud. Do you think we could be
We
professional?
both work at Walmart and here I am. Look at me. I'm super professional. Got like a buzz cut and shit and a mustache. That's as professional as it gets.
Being professional.
Like it's actually not I look like a bartender.
You're looking very savant. That's what you're looking for.
That is not what that word means at all.
It's what I intended to use it for.
Savant is, you heard me use that shit.
Exactly.
You're trying to couple up. You hear that? I think that buzzing is back. I gotta turn my.
All right.
I don't know what the hell is.
But no, I'll be down to go to Super Mario Bros. Movie if you just let me know. Just send me a text.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm really excited to see that shit. So I might go this week because I know, like, I love purposefully corny shit, and it's going to be purposefully corny. And like Chris Pratt is fucking Mario. I've heard there's a section where like he tries to do a little fake Mario voice.
I want to see the Jack Black singing in Bowser about Peaches. I seen that scene about it.
He sings?
Yeah, it's in TikTok. Don't go to TikTok if you want to see a new movie. Word of advice, they will spoil the movie. But I just saw a clip because Warner Bros put it out there. And Not one. Well, yeah, I guess I don't know, but they did Jack Black singing. It's not his character, but it's him dressed up as Bowser.
Yeah,
Because obviously the song's gonna be in the movie, but it is a classic. I want to see that movie. I
yeah.
want to see that movie.
No. No,
Like,
yeah, I do. I love, love,
and
love, 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 love goofy shit. I love goofy shit.
I didn't know Jack Black can sing, but also I love Jack Black in any movie, like Kung Fu Panda, and
Dude, but the Kung Fu Panda trilogy is like objectively that shit is just great.
that
Like
is
it
great.
is
Whoever created that was
objectively great.
great. That was great. No, yeah, the villain for Kung Fu Panda 2 had such a great villain arc.
Was was the villain for Kung Fu Panda 2, is that the goose? The goose dude?
The peacock, yes.
That's what I said.
No, you said a goose.
No, no, no. I said
You said
peacock. I
goose.
said peacock. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. That is not what I said
You
at
said
all.
we lying now. Okay. No, because the first one was Tai Long. He was the
The
some
tiger.
type.
I remember the tiger. The tiger was a badass. Do you
And
remember that bridge scene?
yeah,
The one where they fought on the bridge? That best fight sequence of all time.
and
Better
had
than Rocky.
and had
Better than Rocky, and it's not even close.
and had them all looking like oh, hold on, let me stop because I was about to say, but had them had them all looking like fidgety. Mm-mm. But no, yeah, those are classics. But you can't disrespect Rocky. Those movies are classics
I
too.
mean, I really wouldn't.
Even though he got killed by a white guy, it's still borderline racism. But
I
yeah,
mean, that's just real life, though. Like
not every day to
the
day
white,
life.
the white man stays pushing us down.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that for me, but I don't know about you. You're talking in third person, so
I don't know. You know, I get real tan during the summer, so I get it.
I mean, I don't know because you be switching from ET to Carson.
I feel like I look a lot more like Millie Bobby Brown than E.T. because I got like the little.
No, you don't. Oh, you mean 11?
11, bro.
I thought you were.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking Millie when she's like. I'm talking Millie in her like her fucking asylum patient era. You know that shit where she's like locked up. She ain't allowed to have hair. That's the Millie Bobby Brown that shit's me.
Imagine having those powers in day to day life, though.
I would make people. I would literally just make people trip. I'll just make people trip all the time.
No,
Or like,
I want the power where she holds her hand out and starts choking people.
no, dude,
without actually choking them.
imagine you could pick a specific person that you didn't like, or maybe even just pick a
I got
specific
a
person.
list.
If you're an absolute psychopath, and you could just
I'm
follow,
not at that, but
you could follow them around, and you could use that power to just make them trip constantly, and they think it was them. They just think they were clumsy. They'd constantly be stumbling over themselves. You could make them eat shit and fucking faceplant all the time. They wouldn't even know it was you. Like they would think it's just them walking like some sort of uncoordinated dipshit.
yeah, because there's someone right now who drives a motorcycle that I will be destined to do that too. But we're not gonna say it. Names. He wouldn't even see it coming. Ugh.
Something lax, something just fun as fuck.
Okay.
One, I was curious about your top 3 least favorite foods, and I was wondering specifically if you could explain your I feel like it's fair to call it idiotic opinions about sushi.
Okay, so obviously sushi is one of
Fucking
them.
incredible. Pretty fucking incredible. Clean, crisp, bro. Where else did they let you eat raw meat too?
Well, they shouldn't. But I mean, if I
Raw meat
gosh,
and
no.
rice eaten like a goddamn
If you're ever
king.
forced to eat raw meat, you are technically you're being oppressed, and the person who's feeding you the raw meat is an oppressor, and you should stand up for your rights because that is fucking wrong. That is nasty.
But I mean, but okay, but they roll it
Who
in.
eats sushi?
It's done the fuck up, dude. Like they have that sticky rice. They roll it in this cute little circle with, is it seaweed? I think it's seaweed, right? I'm not tripping.
I don't know. I don't eat sushi.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's seaweed because I can, and
but I know what you're talking. No, it is.
Me.
I take that back because my friend Aiden was eating that stuff. I don't know how you guys can eat that because it's raw. It's raw unless it's a little bit cooked. if it's a little bit
Well,
cooked.
the problem with eating raw meat isn't that it tastes bad. It's that like if you eat raw chicken, you're gonna fucking kill yourself.
Oh yeah,
Like that's
even
the
raw
issue.
like beef and raw meat, like you said. But let for the terms though, what we're referring to as raw meat is as steak, beef, pork,
Yeah, yeah. The ones where you will
not
like
the metaphorical raw meat.
you'll
Because there's some people who like that too, but those people are in the other room.
you ain't a raw meat lover.
No,
Ugh, I don't know.
it's overrated.
Every now and then. Are you talking about sushi?
I hope so.
I'm not. All right. So anyway, 3 least favorite foods since you're like a
Okay.
dedicated bitch ass hater.
Well, I explained one is sushi. The second one is hot dogs. I hate hot dogs.
Really?
I hate them.
Like, is it just hot dogs in general, or you just don't like that the Hellman's, Oscar Mayer, like the shit you'd buy in a grocery store?
Well, I mean, to me, I always thought a hot dog resembled. Growing up, for some reason, I can say this, I was a dumbass as a kid, and I always thought a hot dog was a penis. So I did not like eating that shit.
So,
And I always thought they cut off the pigs and then that's the hot dog.
oh, you thought it was like an actual?
It was
like you thought it was pig
yeah,
dick.
yeah. So and everybody was eating it. I thought there was something in the German old um in history, something old, and it was a part of a hot dog. And I'm like, nope, I cannot eat that. I just don't like it. It was the taste. It wasn't for me. And then school food,
Okay.
they make that shit
Yeah.
worse for you. So a school hot dog, they basically was in a silver long pan that had some type of liquid in it, and they just had the hot dogs boiling in it.
I think it's just. uh, I don't know. They call it hot dog juices, right?
I hope so.
I think it's just like the.
I hate it. That
The
hot
mix
dog
of the
tastes fucking
concoction.
nasty. All I ate one time, threw it up. That was it.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's unfair for you to be skeptical of hot dogs because I don't think there's a motherfucker on the planet who knows what's in them specifically. And if they do,
There's
I
a
feel
thing
like
called
once,
YouTube. Search it up.
I don't. I'm scared though. This is one of
I'm
those things
telling
where
you,
I need to live in ignorance. Like this is something I need to remain ignorant about because I can't give up hot dogs. And I know it's just gonna be like it's gonna be something horrific. Like they grind up all the extra shit and just put it into a tube.
I can say this, but I say recommend watching. You watch the video, you might want to turn vegan. But what I know about the hot dog is not. It's a bunch of random meats put together to form the
Yes.
hot dog.
Yes,
Basically
yes,
like
yes.
McDonald's, but
Yeah.
But
Their pink nugget sauce.
ugh.
I'm curious if that's real.
The pink sauce?
Yeah, my last my
is.
ex worked at McDonald's and I've always been curious about that and I forgot to fucking ask her.
Well, McDonald's had pink sauce?
No, not the TikTok shit
Are
that
you-
you're thinking. I'm saying like I've heard rumors that like not only are McDonald's nuggets not chicken, like they come in like packets of like pink goo. And then they separate the packets and they bread them up and they fry them. And that is how a fucking McNugget is born.
What kind of animal gets cut up in pink goo?
Well, here's the thing. If you popped an animal in a blender, it'd probably come out as pink. Or here's the thing. A living animal might be like a deep red sort of situation. Is my audio weird right now? Do you hear that? I think my audio is kind of, I don't know. Is it clipping? Do you hear it or am I tripping?
I think you're tripping because I can hear you clearly.
Okay. It's weird running all of this shit at the same time. You're gonna know people are gonna notice at the very start of this episode. Like I'm gonna be fucking up the camera switches. I did it a little bit. Like there's been times where I forget to switch this right here, and you were just like I'm talking and the camera's on you just sitting.
Oh my goodness! But no, what I was gonna say though, yeah, that's why I don't eat hot dogs. But I you can't even think about it. You can't convince me anything on top of the hot dog I won't eat. Well, I take that back. No, I still stand on that. I take that back. Hot dogs are nasty, whether that's for me. But my third one I hate it. Yeah, this is one I hate is I want to say it was I want to say it's contra. Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay.
I don't like. I don't like eating peanut butter and jelly or any like yeah, I just don't like it.
Top. Okay. Here's the thing. I get not liking it. Like, one of your 3 most hated foods is a fucking peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, I'm a simplistic guy.
That's a what do you mean? That's not. There's nothing more simplistic than fucking peanut butter on one slice, jelly on the other, smoosh the shit together. Like, that's it. That's the sandwich. That is simplicity.
Yeah.
So you don't like simplicity?
No, I'm a complicated person.
Okay, my bad. I didn't realize we was just talking out of our ass.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, is it really? I mean, here's the thing: if you don't like peanut butter and jelly, like
yeah, continue.
that was my phone. I'm gonna just leave that right there.
Way to be professional.
I get not liking peanut butter and jelly. Because I mean, it is very sugary. Like, being dependent on jelly, I get, like, as I'm aging, I don't like jelly nearly as much as I did when I was like 15, like peanut butter and jelly.
I grew up on jelly. Everything my grandmother cooked was involved with some type of jelly.
Okay, I could see if it's like an
and it wasn't like grape jelly or regular shit, what was that other one called? I'm just gonna call it red
blood.
Yeah, blood, basically. And no, it's an old timer type of jelly that they like. That's what it's called. It's pepper jelly. That's what it is. It's peppered. Yep, my grandma eats that all the time.
Like, as in salt and?
It's peppered jelly.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm at. Like,
yeah,
as in salt and peppered fucking pepper.
Yeah, they sell it in a can at Crest.
In the jelly?
It's in a jar. Pepper jelly. It's like a sweet and tangy.
Tangy is not even that's like.
But then again,
I'm getting like, you know, those mouth sweats before you. I'm getting those thinking about the taste of that shit. Pepper and jelly.
Yeah, but then again, it's like it depends on how you were raised though, because I was raised on like brown sugar cinnamon and spaghetti.
No. I'm a lover of brown sugar. I don't know if I mix that with spaghetti. Okay, so
I would eat that all the time.
So your grandma's like she experiments a bit.
She's a southern lady, southern woman.
Fan of the tang.
Yeah, that's what she is. She is. Yep, that's her. Because I ask her simple, because I'm still learning how to cook. I know certain dishes, but I ask her for measurements and stuff. She's like, she's that type of person. She old fashioned. She's like, just look at it and see if it's enough. You don't need the measuring cups. You take a handful of that and just go. I could
see that. I don't know if. I mean, my mom's actually pretty fucking good at cooking. Like, she used to bake cakes and sell them. Like, she had a little side business before.
Did she stop?
I think she stopped because she made a cake and then somebody like took the cake and didn't pay her. Which, if you're watching this video, whoever you are, jump off your roof, because sleep
with one eye open.
Because I mean, she loved that shit and she was good at it. Still is. I mean, she's still an incredible baker.
But I mean, yeah, I would end my shit to find out someone was copping me out my money. Let's run that back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to air shit. I'm sorry, Mom, if you don't want me to. I feel like I was vague enough that I feel like that's
Mrs.
okay.
I feel bad.
Well, if you're watching this, I mean, it's never too late. Send the check, you heathen.
I don't think that person's gonna send that check.
I don't think they're watching this fucking video.
I think they'll be snitching on themselves. No. So,
but she was like she got really into it. Like, she was starting to decorate cakes with
like wedding cakes and stuff.
Like, I don't know if she ever did a wedding. She might have. Honestly, my memory of that time is just, I don't have a bunch of memories from being young because I don't know.
So you basically got home cooked meals every day.
Yeah, no, she's good at cooking everything. She was exceptional at cakes. Like, that's her standout. But like, she's good at making.
Did she cook your birthday cakes and everything?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, easily. Because I mean, it's just straight up higher quality than it would have been if I bought one at Walmart. Because she's just better.
Okay, we're not gonna talk shit about Walmart because that was basically all
my birthday. I'm not saying I hate it. I still
make them. Get Walmart. No, we didn't get. We got Crest cakes.
Do not misunderstand me. Like, I still like Walmart shit, but it's just like Like she's going to be better than.
I don't like Walmart.
She's
shit.
more talented than anything I'm going to find in Walmart.
I'd rather
They're still
take
good at the bakery.
homemade than Walmart. Walmart do not make they do not make their
You gonna get sued. You gonna
I'm not naming names.
No.
But let's just say you work there and you know some things.
Okay. This
Yeah.
one's completely fucking unrelated.
What?
Who are your favorite white rappers?
Ooh, good question. Good question. Eeny, meeny, miny, no.
Not a single one of them.
No, Eminem. I think
No,
that's
fuck those light skinned bastards.
well, basically Eminem set the standard for people who are white who want to rap, because for the long time
That's true. That's true.
it was only black rappers. And for instance, I can say that because I'm a black person, but as a rap,
no, I mean it was like urban poetry. You know what I mean? Like it is literally just fucking poetry, because y'all were getting beat down by the war on drugs shit, like blatantly. Like it was targeted. It was obviously targeted. Plus the shit that's been going on with police since their fucking inception.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the updated version of fucking slave catchers. Like they're meant to like put you in a jail and force you to do cheap labor for having an ounce of a plant in your pocket. Like it's intentional. So it's incredibly common for communities that are just blatantly fucking mistreated by governments or even just people in power in that area. It's common for those motherfuckers to get introspective and start making art and making like quality poetry, because pain produces beauty. You know what I mean? So it did start out.
So, side note, are you saying our pain and suffering is what caused this beauty of America?
Genuinely, yes. I think a lot of
ladies and gentlemen.
Here's the thing.
Here we go. I'm
not saying it's necessary, but I'm saying the amount of art that has been produced, and like think of the music and the
let me ask you
novels and
this.
the writing that has come.
Do you
from
prefer?
These people
Do you
who
prefer?
suffer.
How to say it? I'll say it like this. Do you like African American music over Caucasian music?
Black people are easily better rappers. I mean, I love me some Mac Miller, but like my all-time favorite.
Good. Okay, I take that. Those are my top two, but he has to.
My all-time favorite is I wish I would.
But look at all the white rappers we have today.
No,
trash as hell.
Oh yeah, Mac was good. The ones left over, like they're the pandery type of ones, which like the Tom McDonald types, which I mean they're obviously.
I could definitely. I say this.
Even Eminem is
new rappers coming in today. What they do is take classics from the past and remix it to make and put their own little spin on it.
Yeah, like the Jack Harlow type of shit. Like I don't. Yeah, he's not my.
It's like I want something original. Like, let me hear some original from you. Create your own.
That's why I love
you.
I
don't want to hear
Kendrick for that reason, because his beats and first of all, he's just smart as fuck. He's one of those dudes who you can listen to him and you can just tell he's smart as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Tyler the Creator is kind of the same, but I like him because he's more comedic than Kendrick is. Like Kendrick can be funny, but Kendrick is he's smart and he's a goddamn activist and he's good at what he does. And Tyler's music is
a real good question though. I will love to get
hilarious.
behind the scenes and everything. Is I know people say consistency is key, which it is, about having rappers consistently put out music and albums and just keep the audience fresh, because that is the fans. The fans want to keep get excited. I want to get excited for that. But I want to know the behind the scenes, because you don't know how hard it is, consistency, because you got to deal with record labels, you got to deal with all the people.
No.
It's like, they got to approve of what music you got to put out first. Like, you may think the song is good, but if you give it out to the record label for them to review it first before that, because they basically are the ones who say, is this going to bring in sales?
Yeah. Well, I don't think they have as much input as they did in the past. Because, like, I mean, think about like Kendrick releasing To Pimp a Butterfly. Like,
but he has his own record company, though.
Does he own his own?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be a little different, because
a lot of rappers are buying their own. A lot of musicians are buying their own record companies because they're tired of these big corporate companies saying no to every song that they like.
But did he have his own during the time of To Pimp a Butterfly? Because that's like a really like I feel like that album's
I
pretty
would have to
honest,
see,
you know
but
what I
I know
mean?
some of the artists who are signed. I know some of the artists who are signed underneath him, and I don't think you'll listen to them though. But it's just like, it's it.
I mean, who are they?
Like for instance, there's Ari Lennox. It's a lot of R&B
I know
singers.
I've heard of Ari Lennox.
Yeah?
I've heard of Ari Lennox. I don't. She is it a she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How can you ask me if you
Well,
don't know? And is it a she?
I'm trying to.
Oh my.
I'm trying to make sure I'm thinking of the right people because
Yeah.
like I'm not a super fan. Ari Lennox is one of those people who I've like. I'm aware of 2 to 3 like songs, and I genuinely
Do you
like.
listen
them,
to
like, I have them
R&B
in a
music
playlist.
though?
So
you wouldn't
like,
know
I
those
like,
type musicians.
I like this
though.
girl, this woman, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What's her name?
Her name is Kirby, and I don't know. I think she's got like when I was listening to her, she had only put out an EP, not even an album yet. It was an EP called Sis, which fucking rocks, like SIS, sis, not like cisgender, and that. Just to be clear.
Yes.
I didn't want you to get confused. I wanted you to look up the right thing because you should look it up because she's. I mean, it was really incredible. Yeah. But she had about like 300,000 listeners. So I listened to her. I mean, obviously, I'm a Rihanna fan. She was one of my early crushes. I had a big crush on Rihanna. Oh,
everybody has a crush on Rihanna. You can't say you don't, because if you don't, then I'm gonna treat you like Area 51 and be like, where are you from?
I've never seen somebody rock a forehead like that, bro.
Why you gotta come for her forehead like that, bro? You shut up.
I'm not. I mean, she makes it work though. She's like.
So that's the one physical trait you stare is her forehead.
No.
Okay, then.
There's a few.
Okay.
She has some. Honestly, I think her tattoos are fine. Fine. I like. She has some of the. I don't know. She just pulls off tattoos like maybe better than anybody I've ever seen before.
Some people cannot pull off tattoos.
Yeah, I feel like I'll probably find out eventually. I don't think I'm gonna tell anybody if I get tattoos. I think I'm just gonna get them, and I'll get them in places where
you'll
people
get
can't
too
see.
giddy.
So, like,
you have to. You will tell somebody.
I'll tell.
I think with mine, I have a story behind each of mine that I have a total of 5.
Yeah, I don't think I want random ones. I'd be fine with like mildly random or even vague, so long as it connects to a specific experience like, for instance, that I want to remember.
So I have 5 tattoos and they're all sentimental to me. But like the first tattoo I got is on my ankle, which has my initials JT, John, first name, and then the third because I'm the third John. But I got that really watching. I was in English class and the girl just did it on the floor while we were all watching a movie, and the teacher was in there in his desk just sitting chilling. And he wasn't an old teacher; he was a young teacher, but he just didn't know that she was literally tattooing my foot. We were watching a movie, and the movie we were watching was Selma. So basically, the pain, I was going through the pain. And then my next tattoo was this tattoo that says family with the cross. It looks like someone took a Sharpie and just smeared it to the cross. The guy, that is a story. I went with this person when I used to work at a summer camp. That summer camp, oof. And I wanted to get this. It was my first ever official tattoo because the one on my ankle, I was trying to hide it for many years. My parents kept on thinking it was a Sharpie thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a Sharpie. Because if I told them I got a tattoo, they will beat my ass.
Yeah.
So this tattoo, they knew about it. And like, okay, cool. So I went to it. It was a downtown place in the city where I got this tattoo. And I went with a friend. He ain't a friend no more. But he got...
You're so shady, bro.
I'm sorry. It's like, what you want me to say? Oh, he was a good friend still? Hell no.
So I went with this one dude. He's a punk ass bitch.
He kind of is. He looks like that one guy from Megamind that looked ugly and then went to...
You mean Megamind?
No, not Megamind. That curly hair, orange head.
Oh, the fat boy.
Him.
The cameraman. Fat boy's probably a little...
I didn't call him Fat Boy. I said ugly.
No, I
kid.
called him Fat Boy. I'm like, so that was a little. I don't remember anything else about him though. I remember he was like he was one of those dudes who he was made to be like a stereotypical dork. Like he was a chubby cameraman dude.
I think he had a crush on the reporter girl. But no,
I mean he's a ginger, so it's possible.
Yeah. So he wanted to get a cloud on his shoulder with the rainbow, and he kept on telling all of us it didn't mean something. And my good friend Jake, which you met, he said, that means something else. That means something. He's telling us all and it's a lie. We know it means something because who in the mind will get a cloud with a rainbow?
Who's getting like a random rainbow?
No, no,
Like it wasn't like a gay. Like
no.
I
It
could
was
see it
all
in
the.
like a
It was.
pride tattoo, but was it like a
He
pride
wasn't gay though.
at all, or do you just not know something?
I don't know something. If it. Well, no. I take that back. I take that back because when we were working at the summer camp,
You had sex with them?
no, and I never will in a million years. But he was doing some questionable
Why you
shit with the
saying?
campers, so we
Oh,
can't go there. So
like Young Guns.
no, these were counselors in training.
So like, not like
Yeah,
kids.
no kids, no kid,
Okay.
no,
That's fine.
no.
Okay, I thought it was.
But
I thought it was a little worse.
No, because
Okay.
they were talking. So what happened? He was talking with this counselor in training. I'm not putting his business out there, but it's like, oh, I was talking his business out there. But they met before camp, and they started talking. But every time he just got my. I was ready to fight him on my last day. I really was, because he really got me messed up was when he started taking the rims of the car.
Yeah.
He kept on taking the rims off my car and hiding them, and I got mad because I was freshly coming off a break.
Like, why?
Thank you. I did not know why he did that.
Was it some sort of prank? Was he trying to be funny? Or
Yes,
something?
he was, because he will do that to other people's cars, and he did it to mine. I was pissed off that day. I'm sorry. It was what it was, and he when I was ready to go on break, I was ready to go out of town because the camp was in Davis, Oklahoma. Not giving any more hints, but I was ready to go to Ardmore because that was our break time to go to Ardmore, the Walmart, the food stations, go outside the station. So I was happy. When I arrived to that parking lot to my car, the rims were, I was like, where are my rims? And I found them by some tree hiding. I'm like, who in the fuck in their right mind would do that? And then I said, okay, I put them back on. I got back. This motherfucker walked back up to me. He's like, did you find your rims? I was like, why are you asking me that? Were you the one who did it?
Dude, as soon like hearing that question, the immediate the immediate rage build up, bro.
It was
like I can't like imagining being in that. Like I know I would have gotten bad.
Oh, best believe I got my revenge back.
Fucking fucking Canadian bad.
I got my revenge bad on him. Yeah.
What'd you do?
What he did was he told me something. He said he was about to fight another counselor. He said some outlandish shit, and I was like, okay.
Love the outlandish motherfuckers though.
And I said, okay. So what he did, he took my rims off my car. He got sent home from camp. But the best feeling was all the kids in the dining room table and me at the head of the table just eating and seeing him and the owner of the camp and our boss and one miniature golf cart and all his stuff. And he's sitting in the back of those golf carts that have the backs. There's the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and then there's that back seat.
Mm-hmm.
He was in that back seat with all his stuff. And they were just driving him off camp because basically when you get fired, you have to get off camp properties.
Yeah.
So he had to pass the dining hall. That's what it was called. And all the kids were like, where's he going? I just smiled. That was the best feeling. And he looked at me because he saw me through the windows because you can see people through the windows. I went.
Yeah. So you watched the motherfucker as he got kicked out of camp.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You were taunting him the entire way.
Yeah. And then the owner of the camp came up to me and was like, we can't do that. And he said, if any of the kids ask why he just suddenly left, say it was a family problem. But they all knew why he got fired. But it was, I mean, you do stupid shit.
I feel like those specific types of just those chaotic dumbasses show up a lot more than you'd think working. Like in my first job, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I worked with this dude. I'm not going to say his name, but he was obvious. Like it was obvious that he was a problem wherever the fuck he went. Like he was chaotic. I think one of his first 2 weeks, we had one of our managers was a black man named Mark. And he was singing along to
that sounds very
a certain
white,
Jamie Foxx, Kanye West soon tune about gold diggers,
Uh-huh.
and man was loud and proud, and he got sent home early. But that motherfucker, one day he was pulling up and he was, I don't know why, he was just gonna park in one of the Sonic stalls and leave his car there. Like, we had a designated parking space like right across the way. We would park at a Hutch's. We'd park at a little gas station, and he parked in one of the stalls instead. And he said he thought he put his car into park, but he hadn't yet, and he was gonna rev his engine, and the motherfucker drove into the building while we were working, drove into the side of the building, and like a bunch of shelves were like shifted because like he drove like a foot into the building and
Was
like
he on
knocked
something?
over, not completely sober. And I do mean that like genuine, because it was just, he was a child essentially. He was like, he was younger than me, and I was working there as an 18-year-old.
Okay, yeah.
But he just drove into the just straight up drove into the building because he forgot to put his car in park.
Stupid.
And he tried to
So
rev
stupid.
it.
Like, how can you?
And where he parked his car, there was a curb. He drove over the curb.
He thought
didn't react fast enough.
He thought this
to
was
notice
GTA.
that
He thought you could get away with anything like GTA.
Yeah. And he didn't notice fast enough. He
Newsflash,
didn't notice
buddy,
his car
you going
pulling
to
forward
jail.
and hitting the curb, and he drove into the building.
Oh, he probably went to jail for that.
I don't think he did. I think he paid some of, because he spent pretty much the rest of his shift, because that was before his shift even began. He was like half an hour early, which is why he was fucking, maybe he was like getting some food. That might have been why he was fucking around in the stall. But
fucking around in a stall.
In a stall is what you call the sections where you order the Sonic.
I thought we
called them stalls.
Okay, I thought you were talking about a bathroom stall.
I know he's the type of motherfucker who like grabs your shoe, like fucks with your shoelaces, and
I was
will,
about
like,
to say he ain't fucking around in that stall like that.
He's the type of dude who steals the rims off of your car and wonders why
I
you're pissed.
don't get that. Like, what's with the whole thing about stealing other people's property? But some people like the fetish over that, so go off.
Fetish?
I mean, they make it their personalities. Go off. Like, you know.
You think they're horny while shoplifting?
No, I think that's an adrenaline rush.
Like you.
I think it's
they pitch a tent in their pants, and that's where they hide all the items, bro.
No. If so, that would be painful. But yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, people probably shoplift. I've heard of people shoplifting by putting stuff in their pants before, because people just don't check that. And also, like, nobody, like, even if somebody does notice a weird bulge in your pants, like, what are you gonna say? Like, sure. Are you gonna be like, "Excuse me, sir, can I feel your crotch?" Like, what do you do in that scenario?
You can say no. You technically can.
Yeah, I know. So I feel like people do that a lot. I don't know if it would hurt.
That's called 2023, today of change. Okay.
I'm starting to get skinny again. I can see that. Shit, I need to work out more, because then skinny looks better. But
it's not my thing. It's not me saying I need to work out more. It's me more like, it's like, bitch, you need to go work out.
No, yeah.
Because it's, for me, it's like I give excuses and I tell myself I need to stop that and I need to but then again, I've grown in the confidence in myself saying, it's 2023. Who gives a fuck about your body?
I do, bro. Like, not your body, to be specific. I'm not like, oh, you like I'm not fucking deconstructing you, but like,
oh my goodness,
I do that. I do that shit with my own body all the time. I obsess over, like, while I'm editing these, I'm like, oh,
listen,
damn. Like, I know, like, specifically with the hairline shit and my own hair loss, like, I know exactly what it's from. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm in the recovery process. Like, I know what I'm doing is going to lead to my hair becoming fucking normal.
As long as you're going into this thinking you want to do this and not someone else's decision. Because the longest time for me, it was other people's comments. But for me, when I started growing up into the person I am today, I am, well, the adult I am now, it went from I'm changing this because I will fit somebody's standard to now it's like, I don't give a fuck. It's 2023. I don't change. My body's not going nowhere. It's who I am. If I want to be looking like David Hasselhoff 1 minute to the next Teletubby, then yeah, it's like it's whatever.
See, I'm a cold-blooded hater at my very core. So like that doesn't stop when I reach myself. Like if anything, it amplifies when I'm trying to analyze myself, like the content that I produce or like the specific way that I look. Like I'm looking at myself. I'm like, I know what, like with the hair thing, I know why your hair is bad, but like you look like ass, bro. Or I'm like, damn, I look a little too skinny here. I look a little
I
too,
understand you
I
on
look
that. I
greasy, or
understand you
like
about
maybe
that.
with some of the filler ups, like
Yeah.
because I have this weird shit where like I either binge eat or I don't eat anything. So it's like all or nothing. So like I mean you've been around me long enough to know that my weight is like fluctuated heavily and it's at fucking random. Like I'll be kind of chubby one day
You
and
have
then
a
I'll be
fast
kind of,
metabolism, don't you?
I do.
I hate people. I can't stand people like that because you eat and you lose it. I eat it,
No, no,
I
no, no, no,
gain
no, no,
it.
no, no, no,
I
no.
hate that because
No. No, no, no. Hold on, hold on. I do have to stop you there. I eat when for me to gain weight, I do have to eat a fuck ton. But when I get into like binging, which I do genuinely binge, like I'll eat past the point of it being comfortable just because like I'll eat shit that's available just because,
but I've
almost just because I have nothing to do. Like it's almost a hobby. But then there will always be a day. It's like a cyclical thing. There will be one specific day where I will notice that like, oh shit, I've gained like 25 pounds. I'm looking kind of chubby recently. And then all of the sudden, my eating will get healthy for like a 2-month period, or just unhealthy, but I'm also not eating a bunch. So I dropped a bunch of weight, which is what I did last time. And this time right now, like I'm in like, part of it is like I'll have some days where I'm just busy and I'll eat one meal, but part of it is just I'm like trying to eat vegetables and other shit that tastes a little worse than Kit Kats, but
I'm gonna start getting
it's
onto that.
healthy.
But it's like I need to. For me, it was I used to. I need to just form a workout routine for me. Like this day, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this, and the next day, I'm gonna do the other day. And I think
Yeah.
what my problem is that I don't. When I look at I be so eager to see the results, and when I don't see anything, I'm like, well, this doesn't work, and I change on to the next
Yeah,
thing.
dude, the delayed gratification makes it so
But then
difficult because you can't see like the specific process in which you build muscle. Like it's just little tears happen, and then you open up little tears when you lift heavy things, and then your muscles like over a 3-day period like slowly build them up slightly
No.
bigger. Like the process in and of itself, it's going to take fucking forever, even if you're like, honestly, even if you're using like steroids and shit, like the progress isn't immediate. Then it's like it's way quicker.
Like a person I used to live with, he used to do protein powders and stuff, and I had them all over the fridge.
See, he was genuinely kind of jacked. His whatever he was doing, it did like he had that shit down.
But to be a punk ass, yeah. Yeah.
He was a jacked punk ass though.
How can you be both?
I listen, I don't have the same beef with him that you do. I can't speak.
I don't have beef with him anymore. I just had a lot of questions now.
We don't gotta get into that. I don't want to.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
In legal trouble.
Well, he can legal. I got all the name, all my stuff.
I don't know. It'd be funny if you got sued. It'd be kind of camp if you got sued for that shit. Like, cause not knowing the type of evidence that would come out in court if you did. Like it's been okay. I'm gonna get off of that.
I look like I just gave birth, so listen. I got milk duds.
You say you look like you just gave birth?
Yeah, I got the ball cap on. Moose, let me pay.
Okay. I'm gonna start the actual episode. Fucking 50 minutes in. I don't actually know. I'm not gonna say time because I don't know how much I'm gonna put in the episode. But
be 10 seconds.
Welcome to the 280, y'all. You are here today, specifically you, because we have somewhat similar and also strikingly different childhoods. Like we overlap and we also don't overlap in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I love talking about miscellaneous kitty mumbo jumbo. Like I love talking about like childhood shit, like
Lord.
upbringing, all that bullshit, because it's easy to talk about. We're all experts in our own experiences and childhoods.
Yeah.
So for starters, before we get into the real meat of the episode, could you give me the basic vibe of the home environment of an early child version of yourself? Like, how would you describe the tone of like the early years, like the first decade of your life? What was it like?
It was basically like, for me, it was definitely like, have you ever seen this TV show off of PBS Kids called Wild Kratts?
I have, yeah.
It was basically of me just getting in the shit and just me figuring out what to discover. Yeah, that was basically my life. And oh, basically early childhood for me, it was crazy. I mean, I bounced from Lawton to Oklahoma City to Spencer, Oklahoma, and to Edmond, Oklahoma. I feel like those top three places were like my places I generally consider home base. I lived in Lawton for a year, but that was between when my mom and dad went through custody, and
When did the divorce happen?
it happened when I was young, when I was like 3. Like I was 3 when they divorced.
Yeah.
So not too long after they had me. So it was,
So you don't really, you, if any, you have like barely any memories of married parents. Like it's always been like
yeah,
parent who lives here, parent who lives here.
yeah,
Okay.
yes. And then my dad remarried when I was 6, and then also had my sister when I was 6.
How okay. So your sister's like a young teenager right now?
She's going to high school this year, so
I
yeah.
have one in 8th grade too.
Yes, so we're like, I want to say 12 years apart. Yeah, 12 years apart. But then I have some cousins who are also on my stepmom side, but I call her my mom because she was a mother figure who stepped up for me, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate of that. And we just don't believe in. She taught me that step is not a word. She feels like step is like the wicked witch of the, are always like,
Yeah, I mean it usually is portrayed
or
like
that
that.
old hag from Cinderella. Her,
Yeah.
she's like, and that was just like, it's like no. So with my but she had nieces who their ages is, well, one's turning 21 this year,
Mhm.
so um and then the other one is a year behind. Well, the other one's my age, same year, but doesn't turn 20 until September. And then I have another cousin that is a year behind me, and then another cousin, they're all sisters, that is a year behind my sister. But we've grown up with each other that we just
So
call each
like
other.
jam-packed house.
No, we didn't live in each other's house, but we always, so what it was like they lived down the street, but we grew up with each other. That we
Okay,
basically
okay, I
like
got you. I got
cousin,
you.
like sibling
Not
type of each
together,
other.
just like
Yeah.
strong relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But we also lived in the country, so it was
Yeah.
basically us just growing up together. It was our entertainment. It was our just growing up playing. I what When I lived in Lawton, it was just me, but I had cousins. But I felt like I was a sore thumb because I was the only black kid,
Yeah.
and I was with, and everybody on my mom's side was white basically.
Mhm.
Um, so it was always felt awkward when I was living with my mom, when I was, because I lived with her when I was 7, turning from 7 to about 9. I was in Lawton, Oklahoma, and I with that era, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that time period, it was definitely a challenging perspective for me because it was like I do remember the court battles between my mom and dad, and me having to tell who I want to live with, who I didn't want to live with, and what. And it was basically me trying to figure out um what was gonna happen next. Cause it was always I was up and moving.
Yeah.
I mean, for me growing up, my actual mother was, even though she gave birth to me, she did not have a maternal figure in her body.
Mhm.
So that was a case where she would, every time I was with her, I was always at her parents' house, my grandparents. Uh,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one thing that I really wanted to touch on, because from what I understand from our previous encounters,
Hmm.
whether it's a prep meeting or just like us in a car at like 2 a.m. waiting for our Walmart lunch shift to be over, you and I, one of our similarities is that we were both the types of kids who were raised almost to feel like an inconvenience. Like we're kind of just thrust wherever our parents or whoever's looking after us that
Hmm.
day. Like we're it's almost like we're just constantly being shipped around just so like our parents don't have to deal with us while they
Yeah.
work or that sort of thing. Like yeah, I just mean like parents working, busy around the clock, maybe, or maybe just had other errands to attend
Yeah.
to, or just were too busy. And because they're busy, we were just constantly left to spend afternoons and evenings with family, friends, grandparents,
Hmm.
maybe just by ourselves at home. In my case, trying to find our own entertainment. I did that a lot
Oh my
when I was
goodness.
younger.
That was
So, two things, because I want to delve into this deep. But for starters,
yeah.
one, I want to hear about some of the more notable after school arrangements that were made on your behalf. So, some of the weirder, maybe more notable places that you were just like, okay, this is where you're going to go after school. You know what I mean? Like, because I know
Gosh.
some of mine were hellish. And then, two, I want to know how those arrangements affected the tiny ass rendition of you. I want to know, what did it feel like specifically? Like,
Like
I,
what made me
I okay,
today, or as a
okay,
person,
I just
or
I have to bring it up. Like, some of my personal favorite anecdotes that I've heard from you are about the ones from you spending time with your grandma, like in the psych ward, and just waiting for your
um.
parents to
So
get back.
on my mom's side, when my mom would go to work, because she worked for apartment complexes, and she was like the manager, so she was always busy doing stuff with those. She would just drop me off at my grandparents. Even after she meets up with my dad to pick me up, she would just drop me off at my grandparents and go do her own thing.
Hmm.
My grandma worked like a basically around the clock. She worked as a nurse at the hospital, and nurses, they're
Yeah,
working
yeah,
constantly. But she also worked at behavioral health institution in Lawton, Oklahoma. And there was this one night in particular where it was like, and there was some times too where uh, no one couldn't watch me,
yeah,
and I would have to go with my grandma. And imagine as a kid, like you don't knowing walking into this establishment. I was young. I didn't even know what this place was.
yeah.
And the first words my nana would tell me, because I called her my nana, was,
Baby, don't give these people a pen.
no, it was not even like that. It was
Like,
like,
don't give them anything sharp. I,
it
I
was like,
promise you, you will
honey,
not
do
like
not
it.
separate from me, or they're gonna think you're one of the kids that are here and get put back into a room.
Ooh.
And oh my goodness. And then that's when I started, because I feel like as a kid I had to grow up fast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was understanding what this place was, but she worked on the adult ward with all
Hmm.
the adults. And so it was less crazy. It was at night, but what I remember from that is I would just, because I love talking to people sometimes, to the point where I'm like, I don't even know who you are.
Uh huh.
Like I didn't, my mind, but I was a kid. I didn't know kids, they talk. But I just remember talking to these patients like they were just normal, like, hey, everything was. And then I realized why they were
These
there.
kids are crazy.
They couldn't go outside. No, these were the adults.
Oh, you weren't.
I wasn't with the
Okay,
kid.
I was
Okay.
under the impression it was like some
No.
sort of juvenile. So you
No.
were like, were you there with the type of people who like maybe killed people and like just
Oh
were
no. I
found like
wouldn't think.
crazy? Were you like, or were you in like lower level, like just caused like public disturbances and people were like, oh, this motherfucker is needs some help?
No, so this behavioral institution was families who sent their loved ones who think that they couldn't take care of themselves, or are sort of mentally challenged, I like to say,
Yeah.
could not that needed to be watched. Or basically by the state, if for instance, for like kids and teenagers who are acted out, but for mental reasons, they would be sent to that place. So it was a half children, half adult place. But the children never saw the kids, and the kids never saw the children. So
You were the only child
on
allowed
the,
around the
the
adults. Oh,
adults,
okay.
yes.
That's probably
That's why my grandma.
That's probably a good
that's why
idea.
my nana said, "Don't let any other nurse see you." That you, because all the nurses on the adult side knew who I was and who my grandma was, so they're like, okay. And I stayed in like the there's what I vividly remember is how it was like there was it was a cubicle, but that was where the nurse's like workstation was. It was like a wall, it was like a glass wall like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it had an entry at like a little open cutout square where the patient could talk through. And I would stay like on the ground. They usually have blankets and pillows for me to
So
lay
the people
down.
you were interacting with, it was like a Hannibal Lecter
Mm-hmm.
situation.
And then
Okay.
I would be allowed to go with my nana outside the cubicle, and there was this not waiting room, where like this like community room where everybody watch TV, do their activities, and I'll be talking to the patients. And I always wondered, like, why was my nana telling all these adults, all right, it's time to go to bed, it's time to do bedroom checks, it's time to see what's going on in the rooms, take your medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, these some adults, they should know what to do. Like, but then I realized this was a behavioral health place.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about it until I told my dad about it when I saw him, when I got back to my dad in the city. He's like,
Yeah.
you were where? You didn't. That was a whole debacle itself. But it was, I think that taught me to always, I think that it really didn't affect me. It was just like, I went in blind first without judging, in a sense. But
yeah, I mean, honestly, here's the thing. I may be imagining this wrong, but like if you were in the sort of situation where you weren't like, as long as you didn't have any like run-ins, or like one of the patients like tried to attack you or like molest you or something just absolutely vile, like if it was literally just you talking to people and like you weren't aware of like that other people called them crazy, and you were just interacting with these people and just having good faith interactions with people who like they might be a little crazy, but they're probably not evil. You know what I mean? They're there's probably something just like they're just struggling with something.
Yes.
And so it probably like,
but the preface
empathy
of that
wise
was, though,
probably helped quite a bit.
some of the patients were able to like go out in the world and do like day-to-day things. Some patients, not all
Were they on, like,
patients.
parole.
It was like halfway houses where it's like the patient, well, the prisoner,
Yeah.
if it's a lower level prisoner, they could go out and do stuff with their family, like go to church or go to like an event type, but they can't go back home. They have to go to the halfway house and report back and stay there. There are some patients who were able to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was just fascinating about it, though, with me, was that I just didn't know. And it was like, but also my nana was a top dog nurse. They knew everybody, even the kids knew not, and the adults knew not to mess with my nana.
So you were solid.
So I was solid. They were
Okay.
scared. They were scared of my nana. So it was like, no.
Do you have any particular patients that stuck out to you that you remember? I mean, for good
Oh
or
my
bad, just
goodness,
anybody
yes.
notable.
Okay, so I remember one of the patients got mad at my nana because my nana told him to go to bed. I forgot his name. It was long. Again, I was a kid.
Let's call him Joe.
Yeah, we'll call him Joe. And he got on the phone because they had a telephone where they could call family members. And he called my nana a B word, and she got mad, and she took the phone and slammed the fucking phone.
I thought you were gonna say she clocked him with. She's like,
oh no, you can't. Obviously, you can't do that shit. But shut the phone down on the well, it was one of those phones where you could
yeah,
pick
the receiver.
up, the push,
Yeah, I got you.
yeah,
I
on
got
that.
you.
And she closed and said, "Go to your room." The other time, there was this other patient. We'll name him Billy. And yes, Billy. He was caught in the bathroom with another female patient that was there. But Billy was married with another woman outside of the hospital.
I mean, when in Rome, or I guess fucking when in Arkham. And
No, because the next morning his wife came up to pick him up to go to church.
Oh.
So
Billy's kind of slutty then.
well, you got to understand that this was behavioral health.
Was he locked up for being a slut?
I don't know. I wouldn't. Of course, I wouldn't. They wouldn't tell me their reasons why
Could
they're there.
you imagine, bro? Institutionalized because you can't keep your pants zipped up.
That's bad. I really think that would be like a a case of a mad ex. Like if I can have you going in there.
I'm gonna be honest. I've had some girls that made me want to be institutionalized.
No,
Like,
no.
did you make any friends?
No.
Any crazy friends at all? Or was it just like brief interactions and then
It was
whenever your nana caught you talking to him, she's like, hey. Like,
well, when I talked to him, she was always like ear hustling right next. Like she would not let me obviously far, but it was like brief conversations. Of course, I didn't make no damn friends with these grown ass people. I was like,
yeah.
If you make friends with me at my little kid age, we gonna have to check into you because what's with you talking to kids like that? But I honestly think if that was the case, they wouldn't be in at that type of institution. They would have been in like
something
jail,
more high,
like
secure. I heard you mention something vaguely about nightly check-ins when we did this prep meeting. What were those like?
For like the behavioral health or
yeah. Well, you also it wasn't just a psych ward, like you also spent time in like a normal hospital when your grandma was working there too, right? Did you make friends with any of those patients? And maybe that's what I'm thinking of when I think of nightly check-ins.
This one was at a hospital. This was also in Lawton. My nana was, like I said, she was a nurse, but she worked in the ICU. And ICU has this age limit where if you're not above a certain age, you can't get in.
Yeah.
So I always stayed in the waiting room. So I never, obviously, I will not want to go back to get scarred for life seeing these patients.
No, yeah, I get that.
Because the ICU is like the intensive care unit.
Yeah, I've never hung out in an insane asylum, actually. Never once. Or psych ward. I don't know.
I don't think you would want to.
I believe you. I'm gonna take your word for it. The hospital was the hospital like kind of enjoyable though? If it's just like normal sick people, none of the crazies, you're probably allowed to I was roam around, go to the cafeteria sometimes maybe, or
well, I was a kid, so usually a nurse will take me or one of her friends will.
You probably ate hella pudding.
Ugh, yeah.
Or Jello.
The cafeteria food was slapping, but that was all I had because when I went with her to the when she worked at the hospital, I waited in the waiting room, which was usually, and then you know how those hospital waiting rooms have that one TV, and it was like they always had like cartoons for the kids, so that's what I literally just chilled in there.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Obviously, I didn't have a phone back then, but which sucks. So it was like I was just chilling, entertaining myself. So it was literally a lot of me entertaining, like doing imaginary shit, just playing. It was just so it was like, even to this day, I still think about it. I'm just like, how was I able to entertain myself as that much as a kid?
Yeah.
Where like, if I was in
I have no idea how I managed doing what I did because I entertained myself with like, we had this weird like competitive math software in 3rd grade, and I would go home and I would eat frozen waffles, and we would travel around to different places and compete in like this weird 60-second multiplication shit. I don't even know how to describe it. It was called Soft 7, like some math competition shit. And I would go home and I would eat frozen waffles, and I would just do that for like 2 hours. Like, I don't know how I managed. I would be bored out of my mind now doing what I did, or just like even during the summer, even when they were there, me and my sisters were just kind of banished to the outside world. Like, hey, don't come back. Like, we lived on a farm, and they were like, go outside, don't come back until like this time period, and then we were just stuck outside until then. Like, regardless of if there was something or nothing. And I didn't hate that like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, honestly, I enjoyed spending the outside time. I kind of do now, but it's just I don't understand how I manage
So like
Like so much nothing.
they told you like don't come back in the house until the time.
Literally, yeah.
But you had siblings, didn't you?
Yeah, they were outside too.
Okay, so you guys were just playing
Yeah,
outside.
somewhat. I mean, here's the thing. I was pretty athletic throughout school, and then I don't have any older siblings, and the siblings that I do have were also they're all I only got a brother recently. So I would play games with like three girls. So they
Hmm.
were either shorter or like slower or just way just smaller and not as coordinated
Hmm.
because I'm older and also have like performance enhancing drugs like in attached to my fucking crotch. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But so a lot of it was me trying to invent games that didn't even rely on skill or athletic ability that much, or even
No.
if we were playing basketball, like the type of handicaps where like I'd play games with only left hand and still smoke them because like
Yeah, I get that. Cause
Abby and Jenna will get sauced every day of the week by me.
oh Lord have mercy. I know as a kid I used to play in the play outside with the other kids in the block when I was a kid. I used to love that. Those days, those memories I would cherish because it was you meet these kids that are on the block and just like it's like, hey, let's hang out, let's have fun and everything, knocking on your door to see if you could come outside and play. Those are the best memories. But I just remember I would, because they when I was at my grandparents' house in Lawton, they had this big tree in the front that I used to climb all the time. And
Were you a huge tree climber when you were a child? Because I used to do that shit religiously for the first decade of my life. It
I
was
was a tree climber, but I wasn't to the extreme where I would go all the way to the top of the tree.
Yeah, I never quite went to top, but I have a weird situation where like there aren't a bunch of trees in Oklahoma, but my some grandpa or great grandpa, I don't remember which, but planted a whole row of trees just like with the intention of growing them up super high
Hmm.
and forming a wall of like shade.
Oh Lord have mercy.
So that's what I've been told. So I have pine trees and
Hmm.
I have a lot of random trees and plants at my house. I had bamboo at my house randomly and I chopped it down because I didn't realize it was bamboo and I was like I didn't chop down all
Yeah.
of it, but like I used to be sent out to do farm work over like spring breaks or fall breaks or weekends all the time, and part of that would be every now and then I would take a hatchet and like hack down like little trees that are growing along the fence line because so many trees are growing everywhere because the wind is blowing around the seeds and trees just sprout up in random places because there's
Oh
so
Lord have
many
mercy.
artificial trees. So I'd go be doing that and I was like, I found these weird stick like plants in the ground and I knocked them together and they would make like a little doom, 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 doom. I was like, what is this fucking tree? And they got pissed and they're like, how do you not notice that's bamboo? And I'm like, bitch, we're in the panhandle of Oklahoma.
Why would
Like, what do
bamboo be
you
in
mean?
Oklahoma?
What do you mean? How did I not know it was bamboo? Why would it be?
Oh my goodness. Like I don't know. That is Carson. I don't know how you knew the difference between didn't know the difference between bamboo and a tree.
But like, I knew it was a different I knew it was a different plant. I didn't know it was bam fucking
How
boo
old were you?
because I was a teenager.
Oh Lord. No, see, I already said it
But
multiple times.
it had never been referenced before, not even once. My family had not referenced the fact that we had a bamboo tree once, not even in passing. We never interacted with it. We never they never did projects with it. It was never cut down. It was never acknowledged if we drove past it or we were doing something, cuz like I live on a little like plot of land with a bunch of wheat fields everywhere, and then there's a bunch of farming equipment, like there's silos and
Yeah.
shit and like an extra garage and like an abandoned house that like an
Yeah.
abandoned brick house that my grandparents used to live in and my dad when they were younger. And so when we go, the bamboo's over by their old house. So I guess they just planted that for decor in like the somewhere between the 70s and 2000s. I don't know when the hell bamboo was in fashion in Oklahoma,
Hey, they said
but
they want to live with the to live with the change, live with the
no.
times. There we go.
What time though? Like when would that have been? Like that was never. Bamboo is
They
always
saw a
niche.
picture on a postcard and they said, "I want that."
They went through this section of Walmart with the Hallmark cards, and they're like, okay.
No, they had that big old yellow
But how
telephone book.
Yeah. Oh, they look for bamboo.
I remember those big
book.
big old yellow telephone books where you have to find someone's number. That's what I used to know. And
where the hell did they order that to?
I don't know. I always thought it came with the house. Like you just boom, here you go.
There's no way they just like lucked into bamboo.
Oh, you're talking about bamboo. I'm talking about those yellow telephone books.
No, the telephone books, like that's what they do this thing called a census, which is it's also how they get like the general estimates of the US population. Like that's how they know we're around, I don't know what it is specifically. It's around 350 million, somewhere around there. Somewhere between 330 million and 360. I don't know the specifics, but that's how they do all that, and that's how they figure out like the male to female ratio and all of that shit.
Mm-hmm. It's the House 2023 census.
I honestly don't know. Well, they still have male and female, and then they also do I think they log intersex people, like people who aren't born with XY or XX chromosomes, because there's a surprisingly large amount of people who like aren't born. Do you know how?
Yeah, I know.
Like there's like 2% of all people are born. Almost 2%. I think it's like 1.7. I might be rounding up a little.
Yeah.
But like 1.7% of all people are born not male or female. Mm-hmm. Like they're born one of the two. And doctors just get to choose their gender like at liberty when they're born.
Well, good question about that. But what would you think for a birth certificate? Would you leave the male or gender free side?
That's the thing. The doctor gets to decide something. Like sometimes, like if you're born with like a vagina and a penis, like I think a doctor can just opt to be like the vagina's, like the placement of the vagina is better, like we'll just remove the dick, or like sew up, like I genuinely,
are you sure it's the doctor's decision or it's the parents' decision though?
I don't know what it is now. I think a lot of times the doctors just choose.
Then that's kind of fucked up.
I don't know. I might need to. I don't know if they get to choose. I know it happens. You know what I mean? I don't know the legal specificities. I know it happens.
Damn. You sounded
so, but like for reference, like 2% of people is like all the fucking gingers. So like there's almost as many people who aren't male or female, like biologically aren't male or female, as there are fucking redheads, bro.
Oh my goodness. You are totally on a redheaded tangent.
I am. Well,
I'm it's like, what's with you and redheads?
My mom's a ginger. My mustache is coming in red for some fucking sin that I don't remember committing. I don't know what I did to deserve a red mustache, but I'm caught up to date.
Okay, you keep telling yourself that. But no.
Okay, so even outside of, we covered hospital and psych ward, that's not all though. Where were some of the other places that you
I know the other places that mine's was between those, or I used to go to the parks all the time, but with those type of parks that I used to go, some would be sketchy. I know. Oh gosh, there's this one park that I used to went to with my cousins. Not name names, not name parking, but we're gonna call it Screet. There we go. We're gonna call the park Screet. Screet had a name because it was always something going on at that park, but for some reason all the kids wanted to go to. Yeah. And for Screet, it was just a fun park to go to. So every time we got put outside, we would go to that park. I was from age 8 to age 11, I was that type of kid where you could not tell me nothing. I felt like I was big and bad. You couldn't tell me shit. Boy, was I wrong. When Screet got, I would say, violence started happening more at at Screet.
Like, was it like planned fights? Like you were like, okay, like you and me, let's go right now, like that type of shit. Like, were you in some like kiddie like fight club shit where you guys were fighting to entertain yourselves, or was it like you were genuinely like, if you got mad, like you duked it out right then and there?
It was a both. It was both. It was oof.
That's
I was more of
that's
a hot.
promising for
I
the
was
youth of
more.
America.
I was more.
We
Oh
had
my.
Fight Club and we had park brawls. You know?
But I feel like for me as a kid, it was more of me. I was very much a. From me now to me as a kid, I was very much as a pop off as a kid.
Yeah.
Like the minute you say something I don't like, it's on site.
Uh-huh.
We're
Yeah.
as an adult now, it's like, no, I got stuff to that I'm living
No,
for.
I used to be highly, highly confrontational, and
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know if I would qualify myself as confrontational anymore because I feel like I avoid confrontation more than I divulge in it.
I don't really I understand everybody needs a little healthy confrontation there then and there, but if you're just sinking confrontation left and right, then that's something you need to fix within yourself. But
Yeah.
my thing
Yeah.
is, but as a for me growing up as a kid, it was like confrontation was what I knew because you got to remember this as a being as a kid that had parents divorcing and had custody battles. The divorce part was over, but it was the custody battles. It was more of you really didn't get you really didn't get put in a specific. I was always moved around.
Yeah.
So during that stage of time, I was sent to. I remember I went to the school called I call it the Vikings, but it was I was there from I'm gonna say kindergarten to first grade, yeah. And in first grade, I was just acting out all the time.
Yeah.
I was, and then for first grade, and then when I got to up to third grade, I was up there from kindergarten to third grade. And third grade, that third grade teacher, she did not like me. I did not like her either. I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call you Bubble Guts. Yeah, you know who you are. Sat on your ass on that chair and just, oof. That person, for some reason, just did not like me, and I don't know why. I didn't know what her personal vendetta was against me, but it was always me. And I would even on the days that I was just being on my best behavior, it was not. No, that principal though. I haven't. I know I'm skipping ahead, but it was like that story though. It was me getting sent to a, I guess you call them reformatory schools.
Yeah.
I got sent to a reformatory school from the school
Yeah.
that I was
No,
at.
I got your boarding school shit queued up. I promise.
That shit, oof. But yeah, that school did not. That school taught me a lot of things. Taught me
But
how to
you
have a voice in
you
my back.
yeah, but you preferred the psych ward. Thrive there.
Gosh, no.
That
Me
shit.
now, hell no.
Okay,
But
the
me back
psych
then,
dude, the psych ward shit would have scared me so bad. Did you have any like
well, yeah,
did
I
you
was
develop any intense like childhood fears, nightmare, anxiety, like any of that shit
definitely. I
from
was
your
scared
time in the
of
psych
being
ward?
alone. I hated the feeling of being alone as a kid. I did not like being by myself, and I feel like that's what a lot of it felt like. Why because to this day I'm scared of hospitals because I was
Mhm.
left alone.
Yeah.
And I think that had to do with me always waiting in waiting rooms, being by myself, seeing other parents with their kids, and having someone to talk to. And I was alone at that time period. And it was just like, it taught me to basically make up your own friend and be imaginary. And it was, I think it felt scared. I think I was not scared of being alone. I was scared of abandonment
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah.
And now I feel like to this day there's still a lingering, but it isn't as much as fear of abandonment because clearly I am enjoying alone time as an adult. But no, it was something about that it was just it's scared, but yeah, to this day now, I will never walk into any type of hospital. Like, no. I remember when I got my foot cut in football, I they tried to take me in for a hospital, and when they were checking my blood pressure and everything, it was too high. They couldn't take me in.
Because you would just stress the
I
fuck
was
out
stressed
even
out,
being there.
anxiety. Like, no. They had to keep on telling me to come back, come sit down, take a drink of water.
So, do you think we talked a bit, and another thing that we have in common is we were both mischievous little bitches as kids,
Oh,
like in trouble quite a bit. I don't know if I've told you about mine as much, but like I was suspended twice when I was in elementary school. Like I was sent to the office a few other times, and I think I got like genuine swats, like grown ass man, like swinging with a wooden paddle, like twice,
yes.
like hard enough that like the imprints of my jeans, like
Mhm.
if there were words on like the little buttons of my jeans, I could read the words like on my ass after
Uh-huh.
they were imprinted. I got like branded.
By your principal?
Yeah, twice.
You had corporal punishment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
that did
literally,
happen.
yes.
Yeah, corporal punishment was still because my principal used to do the paddle with people.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
my
hold on. That was you can
yeah,
tell that in a second. But just to finish, do you like that feeling of abandonment? Do you think that specific feeling of abandonment and seeking to absolve yourself of that feeling is part of the reason why you were so mischievous? Was it like an attention seeking thing?
I
Was it
think
a
it really was.
notice me, mommy and daddy type of thing? You
I
know?
think it was because when the custody battles were happening, I was with my mom at the time, and my mom was never home. Like I said, my mom had me, but she didn't have a maternal bone. It was like
Yeah.
it was something. It was like she was there, but not there. She was always into her work, or what she explained to me when I grew up was that she felt like she was robbed of her youth because she had me at 23. She got
Yeah.
married at 22,
Hmm.
and that was young. But in today's society, you get married at 19. But at these type of ages, but she said she felt like she got robbed of her youth. I don't know why, but I don't know why she told me, but that kind of felt like a stab in the back in my eyes. But it was with that it just did not. And of course, my grandparents and I had cousins up there, but they
Yeah.
had their families and stuff, and they went to go do things with their families, which is totally understandable. But my grandparents were they were elders. It's like my pop. I called my grandpa my papa on my mom's side. He passed away, but he was he was dealing with a lot of health issues.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it was basically me growing up for myself. Like I had to and then my grandma, my nana, she worked all the time. So like she wouldn't come back home from like I would go to school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. She wouldn't get home till about 11 p.m. at night.
Uh-huh.
So it was basically me having to basically be my own friend and everything. And it sometimes it was tough. It really was. It was lonely. I got so lonely. And I remember with when I still live with my mom, I visited with my dad. Like my dad picked me up, took me back to the city and stuff. I used to be so heartbroken. It used to really make me break down and cry as a kid because I did not want to go back
Hmm.
because I felt like I was alone when I
Yeah.
went up there. But I had to due to court.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until my dad finally won me back, it was like, "Oh my goodness." But that I think that led into me being mischievous because I sought attention. I was always getting in trouble in school. That's what sent me to that reformatory school because I was always seeking attention because I never felt like I got that when I was little.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was fighting for someone's attention. I was always that like in a movie in a type of way. It was like there's the main characters and then there's the side characters. The side characters are usually like the best friends or the people who really have those one-liners in the movies. That's what I felt like. I felt like that as a kid of, okay, you have a little moment and then you're forgotten about.
I think the specific way that we approach like child custody once
Mm-hmm.
divorce happens. I think that's going to be just another one of the absolute shitload of things that we're going to look back on and be like, why the hell did we think that was okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't, like, I understand it in theory if you think about it exclusively in terms of like, okay, the children are technically property of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes sense. They're splitting assets. Obviously, the children should just split time. I don't think we talk enough about how fucking insane it is that we see children as the property of parents in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the next big I think that's going to be the next big social push because we
So
have, I don't know, we just have it ingrained in society almost that like your children are your pets. You know, you get to raise your child. Here's the thing, I don't know the solution to that because it I also think that like some sort of authoritarian, like you have to raise your child this way. I think that's fucked, but I don't, it's just like the fact that we have this idea that we can peddle whatever bullshit we want to our kids. We can lie to them as often as we want. We can hit them for some fucking reason.
oh my goodness.
You can beat the shit out of the tiniest people that exist. You can't hit the big
Well,
ones
my
though.
biggest
That's fucked up.
but my
Like
biggest
all
thing
of that, we
is
just, or even splitting the time. Like they just decide that like you
yeah.
have to live here half the time. You have to live here the other half of your time. It doesn't matter where you want to stay because half of your time belongs to this woman. Like you are this woman's property until you hit that 18 threshold and you become a person.
Yeah, and I felt like that was pretty much what me growing up as a child. With that, I say with a kid should never feel alone. The kid should feel like they have a support system behind their back.
Yeah.
Because I would say a kid feeling alone is a kid who creates boundaries, not a kid who creates walls. And what I mean by walls is you putting up some type of barrier and boundary in front of yourself where when it's actually time for people you actually meet who want to get into your life, who want to get to know you, like, hey, I can be your support, you start second guessing and
Mm-hmm.
you start being like, I don't know, I'm so comfortable in this one bubble where I'm not able to express myself. And that's where it was for me for the longest time until I got technically out of my junior year of high school. I started really opening up my bubble because for the longest time I always had these walls up where it was just like I did not know how to really express myself because I basically was alone. And for the longest time, when I talked to my dad about this, I always hear, well, you were only there for a year, but you don't understand. In a kid's eyes, a year is a long ass time.
Yeah. Well, in my eyes, a year is a long ass
Ass
time. Like
time.
if somebody were to tell me, like, okay, Carson, for the next year, like half, honestly, that's essentially what I do when I work at Walmart. Cause like I don't have enough capital as an individual. Like I don't have enough assets to just be able to go through college and just survive while going through school.
Exactly.
So I have to sell like half of the days of like half of my time
Hmm.
essentially. Like for the next 6 months,
Yeah.
you're going to work 4 days a fucking week. You're going
Hmm.
to work overnight so you don't get to go out at all and you're going to be super tired even when you do have time to do things because you're staying up all night. Like
Yeah.
like I did that for half a year and it was hellish and it's still somewhat hellish now even with a full like 1 day shift whittled off.
But
You
now
know what I mean?
think about it. For instance, like you said, half a year. It's been a full year for me. Full year of overnight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. It's so shitty,
it's
dude.
draining and it's the cycle. I know you could push through it, but it's like imagine pushing through that 4 years through college, but you really don't have a choice because you got to pay bills, you got to pay rent, you got to do all this stuff. You don't
Yeah,
get
I
the
mean
type of
nobody there. I mean, maybe there are some few exceptions of like there's some you have like you're from like a middle class family and your parents are just or upper middle class family and your parents are just kind of shitty with finances and they decide, okay, even though I had you, even though I made the choice to like make you to bring a person into the world and I have the resources to get this thing done for you, I don't know. I just feel like you'd be better off if you had to spend like
Some type of,
30 hours a week working at a
yeah.
fucking restaurant for $11 an
See,
hour. And
I,
it's not better. And it's fucking
mhm.
awful. It's fucking awful. Nobody works because they want to. It's
See,
always because they're
and with my
forced.
dad, I grew up learning you have to work for your money and work hard for your family. Like, I'm not gonna say my my family was poor. My family was not, but it was to the point where we had to everybody, like, I couldn't do obviously these lavish trips I see
Yeah.
other people seeing. It wasn't. I didn't really know that until I fully got into high school, where I saw these other kids who.
I'm from a rural area. Once I like around my senior year, I had a bunch of different summer camps for random just a bunch of random things that I was accepted to, either
Mhm.
for scholarships or otherwise, or student council or any other random clubs that I was
Yeah.
in, sports, all of that shit. I What the fuck was I gonna say? What were we talking about? Hold up. I just fully
About
lost.
the change of sceneries of what it was like.
Oh, once I went to those camps and I started seeing like girls were walking around in these specific skirts made by some designer called Lululemon that I had never heard of until I was 18. And
Oh
like
my
everybody's in like tennis
goodness.
skirts and like high quality tank tops, and nobody's wearing the same pair of jeans 2 days in a row. And I'm like, what the fuck are these kids on? What do you like? They're just wearing fucking button ups just because? Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding? Her car.
I think it's fucked up how you could do a switch
But
around. But did you see that in you see that in like a work environment, like at Walmart. There's certain people, it's not, there's certain management people who used to be associates that will switch around when they get the power in their hands. But you can see that in everyday world. It's like you, they could be a normal day associate, but once they get that power in their hands, they switch. It's like
yeah,
a switch, and then it's like, oh, fuck everything that I stand on. I'm gonna go start something new.
I think that's the largest portion of what's happened here. I don't, because it's not like this specific group of people is evil. It's not even as simple as like rich kids are evil. Like
Mhm.
it literally just is. We've created like our current system is created in such a way that once you are in the position to accumulate just a fuck ton of assets, once you start gaining power and you start gaining capital, it goes to your head 100% of the fucking time. It is not avoidable. No rich person has avoided it. I think they've gone through studies like rich people become fucking sociopaths. Like you lose
Mhm.
empathy the longer
Yeah.
that you are like lavishly filthy wealthy.
Yeah.
Our system, it's not good versus bad. It's like the bad thing is the fucking money, and we have a system built around money running everything. That is the core issue of it.
Yeah.
It's not like Republicans are bad, Democrats are bad. I have tons of fucking Republican and Democrat friends. They're fucking normal. The actual people who live in this country are normal.
My
The
biggest thing
politicians that
is
represent them aren't normal at all. They're fucking
I don't
extremists because they've come into contact with that power, and they're trying to gain as much of it as possible, and they are willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to gain as much as they possibly can fucking siphon. You know what I mean?
I get you on that. I get you on that. But like, but again, it is what I said. It's like I don't care what you are representing, as long as you don't make that as a personality trait. That's my thing. If we're friends, don't bring that as a personality trait and start imposing it on others, because that's where the issues
I
become.
don't like the imposition. I can handle like I don't know. I can handle if you're like really passionate about something and it's a big part of who you are. I can handle that. It's the imposition though is just it's insane the amount that people try to control you
Hmm.
here. And that's an aspect of our authoritarian regime. Like going back as far as like in the 1940s.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the Hollywood 10, but like that's that's essentially where America realized that they didn't have to actually be better than they didn't have to outperform socialist and communist countries. Like they didn't have to treat their citizens better. They didn't have to do better. What they had to do was just focus on like this specific ideology is evil. They targeted an ideology instead of the things that were actually happening because other countries started they started their come up, like they started to make money like the US. They started to, and they were treating their citizens better, and like their citizens were making were like their citizens were getting paid more. They were getting a larger portion of the actual work that they were doing instead of the current system where like you give as much labor as possible and your boss gives you basically what you need to survive, and then every now and then you'll have enough to buy a TV and a fucking video game, and that's more than you even need, so like you should be satisfied. You know what I mean? But like as like they used to ban shit even if it wasn't like legally imposed, like the rigid like puritanical boundaries that have been placed on people in culture, like the heavy emphasis on you have to have these Christian values or you're like a deplorable. You know what I mean? I mean, think about the 40s where like the Hollywood 10, which is a group of like prominent writers of movies, just people in the entertainment industry, they were blacklisted completely exclusively because they were communists. Like they just weren't allowed to work anymore. They were expelled because they were communists. That's not something that happens in a free country. Okay. Think about like in the I don't know if it was 50s or 60s. Have you ever seen that old Batman TV show? The one with Adam West, like the 60s one? The one with that
Describe
transition that's like
I heard, yeah, okay,
like
yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
coming
Like
back.
the 60s
Okay,
one, like the
yes.
costumes were corny. That show was corny specifically because comic books were really gritty in like the 1930s, and they're like like shit was just, I mean, it was real. Like people were expressing themselves in very real ways, and then like some group of Christian like loud Christian moms decided that it was like unholy for comic books to present these like non-Christian values, and so comic books, like I think it's called the golden age of comic books or whatever, comics books became insanely corny for a decade just because they decided that people didn't get to tell the stories that they wanted anymore because they weren't Christian enough. You know, in the 60s, like the direct counter movement to like hippies, what did hippies do wrong? They smoked and like wanted like women to be treated better. Well, I mean, what else did they do?
They
Like
wanted
literally,
peace.
they were too fucking high to do anything else. They were just, their entire thing was peace signs, rainbow, peace and love, man. Let's go to fucking Woodstock, get high off our asses.
I think one of our former
listen to
associates, I
Jimmy
thought he was a
Shred.
hippie for the longest time until he told me no,
But
and I
like the
was like,
hippies are weird. They don't do anything wrong though.
no.
And it's just always, I mean, the response to like, it's recently been like
Yeah.
the shit like targeting specific hoods or like labeling the people who are in gangs for protection, specifically in like low income neighborhoods, like labeling them as thugs and like labeling that entire genre of rap as like thug music and not and like trying to keep like rap music with curse words like pulled off of radio, or just radio in general. The fact that you can't curse on radio, like all of that shit is censored, and there's so
Well,
many
I
laws
think
about what you can cover on TV and what you can't, and what you can cover on news stations and what you can't. And like there's so like it's so authoritarian, and we think just because it's not outright like Kim Jong-un type, everybody has a picture of the president in their fucking house,
oh
even though
Lord.
we still do like insanely creepy authoritarian shit. The Pledge of Allegiance is not fucking normal.
That's what I was thinking. Like
Okay?
we still have
We
to say the
all
Pledge of
of these
Allegiance all the
God,
time.
God is on our money because Christians, the change like in God we trust being put on our money happened in the fucking 1950s. Like it's recent. It was a reaction to communism because they were presenting communists as like these godless deplorables who were starving their citizens. Like that wasn't exactly what the fuck was happening in the country at that exact time period in America. You know what I mean? It's always been authoritarian, and the only reason that it's not acknowledged as such is because we're incredible at marketing. We're incredible at marketing, and we know how to lie to motherfuckers. You have told me that you're not really religious. I don't know if you were religious at one point, but you're not super religious anymore. Am I interpreting that correctly? And
No,
if
you
so,
were
like,
right. You're right.
is
So
that and is
I
that
grew
because
up.
of a Catholic school? Like, is that like it's a bad
No.
experience and I just don't
Okay.
want to be involved in it anymore? Like, what happened?
So what made me separate myself from religion was I grew up Southern Baptist. I didn't grow up Catholic,
Yeah.
but I went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was always in some type of religion growing up. I it didn't start until I started getting older, like when I started hitting like junior, senior year of high school and up, that I started questioning things
Yeah.
that I was hearing from people. And it was like it was a lot of stuff that just it was a lot of in I'm gonna say it and errors that I was just hearing
Inaccurate.
inaccurate.
Yeah.
It was just inaccuracies. It was just I couldn't. It was like, for instance, in the one in the Bible, the man is positioned as the prominent person
Yeah.
in the table.
Yep.
The wife is the lesser
Subservient.
person,
Yeah.
and that's how it's portrayed in the Bible. But I'm like, no, that's not right. Or how if the child gets um touched by an adult, how the Bible describes it, it's like the person who was responsible for it had no blame for it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
Some of
not
these
familiar with that one.
some of these rules, it was like,
I know a lot of the rules that you'd see,
but
especially Older
a lot of
Testament
started
rules, like
questioning
around
because it
like
was
the
like,
Leviticus
mhm,
sections. Like, shit starts to get weird, and shit start like you start to see rules that like some of the rules are referred to as like, hey, you need to follow these, and others like the don't eat shrimp or like don't wear clothes of mixed cloth. Like those are just
my
like
biggest
those are
thing
the famous
was,
examples of like some of the rules. It is very obviously pick and choose, you know.
my biggest thing was though was I became it was not even I became no. It was I started questioning. It was a lot of people who were around me and who I know who I could keep close still to this day are who are in my life now
Yeah. Yeah.
who are LGBT plus,
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's I feel like that's
who identify
most
as
of
not straight.
I feel like that's most of this generation. Is
And the
like the
religion,
second that you get a straight friend, it's like, oh, you bitches have been lying to me. Like these people are not how you presented them. Like they're not these
what do you mean?
like like you know how gay people are like like very commonly presented as like godless, just lost of the world is a phrase that I used to hear
Hmm.
specifically a lot. And I feel like young for a lot of young Christians, having a first gay friend is a huge turning point because that's the point where you're gonna lean wholeheartedly into your religion and you're
Hmm.
gonna just decide, even though it doesn't feel right, like I'm not God. I don't make
Hmm.
the rules. This is
Yeah.
how it has to be. And then you become,
Hmm.
you live by those rules for the rest of your life and you present that as like the code of the universe.
Hmm.
Or you hit that portion and you're like, this entire religion, like the only point of Jesus being fucking born, like the entire purpose of his existence is
Hmm.
get over yourself, love other people. It's
Hmm.
literally just that.
Yeah.
And there's like, this is my friend. I know them. They're not evil. Like they're literally just me, but they fuck dudes. You know what I mean? Like it's literally just that they fuck dudes and they like RuPaul. Like that's the only
But even
difference
straight
between
people can
those
like
two.
RuPaul
And
though.
once you get
It's
there,
like
and
you
you'll
don't know
either
unless you tried it. So
yeah, I honestly I feel like I would love it too. I just haven't watched it. But you dive wholeheartedly into conservatism or you choose love. Essentially, you may not choose the church, but I feel like in that moment you choose Jesus.
hmm.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that happened for so many people around my age because we're the like we came after like the main racial revolutions, like the Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the Fred Hamptons.
Mhm.
Rest in peace. If you don't know who Fred Hampton is, look him up. He's a G.
No.
That Daniel Kaluuya movie that he played him, that shit was sick too. But we already got we got past the, I don't want to say past because obviously it's still an issue, but like it's an issue that has been, it's at least like public knowledge. Like nobody's unaware of the fact that like racism exists, or at least that like black people say it. A lot of people think black people are lying. I don't know how the fuck you'd end up there. I don't know how you'd convince yourself that every single black person is lying about racism happening, except for like the 8% that show up at like on fucking far right news networks.
I don't even think it's just racism though. I just think it's every
I'm
hate train though.
I'm saying that was our so like we had that same sort of revolution with gay people. I feel like that happened like during an integral portion of our childhoods. Like I feel like gays weren't really embraced. Like, I mean, they were still throwing around gay slurs until like what, the 2010s? Like it was before my era, but I know it was happening like immediate. Like I never got into I was never part of the gay slur
racism
crowd,
and every anti-hate stuff.
Yeah.
I say it hasn't gone away.
It definitely hasn't gone away. I'm saying our revolution.
It's just calmed down a bit. And I hate to say it now, with today's society, it's starting to rise up again.
I don't think it's actually rising up again. I think this is one of those things where.
But I'm not just talking about racism though. I'm talking about the anti-hate. You see a bunch of all these stuff. I'm talking about all of it.
I think it's bursting. You know what I mean? So immediately after like a bubble burst, like little explosion, and then completely dissipates. I think that translates to our actual society. I think it's ramping up now because the people who actually like it, they are easily the minority, and they're starting to get loud because they know that shit is dying. Yeah. They know that shit is dying. And I don't think it's going to be soon. I know we're definitely not there yet, but like I feel like it's ramping up, especially you can see it with trans people now. People are starting to get obsessed with trans people, like people who just get caught up in hate movements, because it's really easy to hate people. Like I get it. I was a huge fan of, I don't know if you know what Frenemies is. That shit with Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein. It was literally just like that podcast, just 2 hours of them just hating and shitting on bitches. But I love it because like when you have this, when you can find somebody you don't like, it's so fun to fucking hate on them. But like the people who hate trans people and who hate gay people, or who even are still stuck in the fucking 50s and still think the ethnicities like shouldn't mix and shit, and still like think Italians don't count as white people, like deeply racist. They know that people think that they're fucking goobers. They know it. They know that people see them as dipshits. And so they're trying to be as loud as possible because hurt dogs yap. Hurt dogs yap. And I think the hurt dogs are yapping. Yep. And I think with the anti-gay stuff specifically, I think that's why they're passing a lot of legislation, is because they know the hurt dogs are yapping now, because the younger generations, we don't really give a fuck who you're fucking. We really don't care. I don't care if you want to wear boy clothes. I'm sorry. I don't. I just don't care. Like, just younger people don't fucking care. It's a losing issue. You're not going to be able to target gay people and trans people in 20 years because people they either aren't going to care, or you're going to piss people off because their friends are going to be gay and they're going to know that they're actual people. They're going to treat them like actual people. And if you treat them badly, we're not going to fuck with you anymore.
But I got to give the young people this. We have a voice. And our voice has done multiple things and stopped multiple things and prevented multiple things.
It's pushing.
And I say this, a voice can go so many ways. So with the narrative of saying it's not going to care, I guarantee that could go and turn out into negative reasons so bad. Because you could say that about any other thing and you just say, I don't care.
Yep.
I say you do care, though. Push for that stuff. That's why I said I have one of my closest friends, Aiden, but he's my closest friend.
Yep.
I go to bat for him for anything he does, and it's like I'll defend him in a heartbeat. It's like the stuff is scary, seeing the stuff on the news and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like people just getting up on stages and being like, hey, straight up, like, let's get rid of these people. Like, or like referring to them as like abominable. I see abomination all the time.
And I think that's fun.
From the like strict, like hyper conservative.
And
I'm not from a hyper conservative
Mhm.
environment. Like, my family's Christian.
Mhm.
They're very much like, I feel like they're a liberal brand of conservative in that, like, they kind of, like, they're capitalists, but just because like that's the thing to do. You know what I mean? They don't have, like, I don't have racist shit in my family. I like a bunch of the only people that I'm close with in my family is I have a couple of aunts on my dad's side, and then my mom's sisters who also they all have big families. So those two cousins, and like one of the sisters, like all of her kids are black.
Mhm.
So like I never, like, we never had issues with that shit because I fully believe that the only reason that racism happens in the first place is just because you don't, like, if you hate black people, you don't know enough black people. Because if you did, you wouldn't fucking hate black people.
But it's any race though.
Same thing with literally every ethnicity. Like, you might hate Mexicans. If you meet a bunch of Mexicans, you're gonna, like, they're pretty fucking dope. You're going to discover that pretty much every people group we're doing the same shit. We might have different styles of like humor or different ways of conveying information, but we're all doing the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but my biggest thing is I don't look just into race. I look into you as a person. So if you being an asshole, you just being an asshole. If you want to be a prick, you gonna be a prick. It's how you gonna be. So I don't base it off of your skin tone. No, I look into you as a person.
That's what I'm saying. It's so corny,
so I don't want to put
you know?
people generalize like black people this or Mexican people this. No, let's look into the individual. That's where it's like stuff is gonna get started at.
Yeah.
And I think it's
the exact same with the gays and the trans and the bis and the any other peoples that I missed. Like, it's all the same shit. Like, I don't understand the point of the culture. Like, we're not the country's not going to shit because like sometimes boys kiss each other now. I'm sorry. The country's not going to shit because like women can get married to each other. The country's not going to shit because you can be born a man and you can still dress in dresses and present yourself as a woman. It's not ruining the country. I'm sorry. Like, just fucking treat people like they're people. Stop worrying about the random artificial bullshit of like what jewelry or clothes they're wearing or what fucking name they want to be called, and just quit. There's no reason for people to care that much. Like, just be good to people when you can. And like, honestly, even if you can't get over it, like, if you genuinely hate a people group, just fucking leave them alone. Like, just fuck off, leave them alone. Like, even if you are a hateful jackass, like, just go be a hateful jackass away from the people that you hate. They'll never know. Everybody wins. You know what I mean?
It's hard because those people are seeking attention.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You pull
that's true.
And like I said, they'll keep doing it and doing it and doing it until they get the attention they want.
Well, I hate that a lot of it feels like, I don't know. I hate that people lean so heavily on religious texts too, because it just doesn't, like, here's the thing. Even if I don't know if there are verses in the Bible directly referring to any trans movement or like men wearing women's clothes, women wearing men's clothes, any of that shit. Even if there is, though, I do know that there's substantially more biblical content covering loving your neighbor and loving the people that maybe you don't even like, and like loving people through your own misunderstanding. And I don't understand why you'd favor the 2 Bible verses from the Old Testament, which you already pick and fucking choose from, or like a single one-off quote from Paul the fucking Christian murderer. I don't know why you'd pull a couple quotes from them instead of pulling quotes from, I don't know, the dude that you think was literally born of God and a fucking virgin, who's saying, grow the fuck up, treat them well, give your excess away, love yourself, love others, love me. That is the quintessential Jesus or love my father. I think he was a lot more.
I don't think in my stance, it's like, yes, I believe in a higher power. I believe in, of course,
I don't think
I believe in God. I believe in God, but it's
I
like,
don't think it's escapable if you grow up as a Christian. Like, I think if you grow up as a Christian, even if you're removed from it, you're always going to be like, there's got to be something.
As always, that's why you see crosses on me, because it's like, I stay with I believe in who I believe in.
Do you still believe in like God of Abraham, like Yahweh?
Now that stuff right there, I question when it comes to
even
I question when it comes to the Bible, because I feel like the Bible was man-made, and it was a recount from different people, passed down, with everybody different account versions and stories. That can be misinterpreted as many times through history of someone saying, like, for instance, if I said the sky is blue. Yeah. And I told you, and you told someone, and they told, and it ends up with the green something.
Or like, for the way that the specific way that I think that a lot of the maybe mistranslation happened, or I think when they did happen, I don't think a lot of it was intentional. Like, you can find intentional misrepresentations in the case of like King James. Like, I don't know if you know this, but King James changed some specificities of like changed specific Bible verses to allow himself to get divorced without facing like harsh punishment. Or I don't know the specificities. I know he changed the book for himself, and I know there's a lot of speculation that it was also changed in like 1946 to include more anti-gay verses, which I think there's compelling evidence there, but I'm not going to act like I know for sure. I mean, I'm obviously not God or the motherfuckers.
But you see, you can alter with the alter with the Bible. But my thing is,
what I was saying is, I'm sorry, but like I didn't get to my point. I'm sorry, that was a little long-winded, but I did have a point with that. The specific way that I think it was misconstrued is I think a lot of the people who wrote, many of the authors of the Bible, were incredibly poetic, spiritual individuals. And a lot of biblical text is, unless expressly presented as like a vision or a prophecy, a lot of people assume or are even preached to and taught about the Bible in a manner in which they assume everything else is literal. Like, it's like a historical account. Yeah. And it's just, I think there's a lot of instances, like for the sky, for example, like if a poet were going to write like the sky is alive, like describing like stars twinkling in the night sky, and then in a few hundred years, like the specific way that they worded it made them believe that like, oh, holy shit, what the fuck, the sky was alive 200 years ago, like God was literally in the sky, like communicating to people. I think it's that sort of misinterpretation. I think it's a misinterpretation of poetic intent. I think a lot of the people who contributed to the Bible are better writers than they're given credit for, and I think the translation underestimated their poetic and their metaphorical storytelling abilities.
I think my biggest thing is man-made. It was like that kind of had me step away, is because it's like, if you didn't go with their customs or their circumstances according to like their Bible,
conform or else,
it was like, no. So that's why it kind of like, it was my big thing of me stepping away. It was the major aspect of man. Yeah, I don't respect you trying to conform someone to your thing. Stop. I don't do that.
You just don't like the imposition. You don't like the do this or go to hell heathen, that type of like a crusade type of shit where like accept God as your savior or I'll fucking stab you. Like that type of shit. You just, and I do think that's a huge issue with, I think it's a huge issue with our culture. I don't want to say with Christianity, because that's not what Christianity is at its core. But I do think Christianity is heavily misinterpreted as such in our American culture. Because I think the book itself, I don't think I don't think you can find a goddamn thing that Jesus said that would imply that he wanted you to like cast out like people who were unholy or people who were sinful. I don't think you'll be able to find that shit anywhere. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, feel free to fucking comment it if you're here and you know of Jesus saying don't fuck with these people. But I don't think it fucking happened a single time.
But look at it this way. You look at the Christian Bible, but you look at the Catholic Bible.
See, I don't know much about Catholicism. I'm not Catholic. Like I had
the Catholicism Bible has it where,
because I know you guys have extra, because I was like Assemblies of God, which is kind of like they're in between hippie and they're pretty, I mean they're really just normal. They are like they're not radical, but they're also not super liberal granola types. Like it's just normal. Like they're nice people, and you wouldn't really know whether or not they have.
So I grew up with
weird shit
Southern
like
Baptist and Catholicism. So Southern Baptist was more of spreading the word through preachings of the pastor going on the phone, shouting and screaming and saying, like the Lord, I felt it in my spirit when I was down, like
like the speaking in tongues and all of that.
No, not tongues.
You didn't have tongues?
No,
I was the churches that I would go to
mine was basically because when Southern Baptist was basically a black church, so it basically was screaming and yelling, and it was they spread the word of God through their daily lives of what happens in other people's lives. Southern Baptist does a thing where they get into other people's personal lives without that person's consent. And let it know out to everybody of how the God touched them. And that's where I had the issue with that, because it's like, I may be comfortable telling you, but I was not comfortable with telling everybody and the whole church my business.
No, that was it was so uncomfortable. I used to have
with
little things like that. I had a little thing, like specifically, I had this group come to my church when I was either a preteen or a young teenager. Like I wasn't like a child, but I think I was around like 13 or 14-ish.
Yeah.
And they came to my church and they did this thing where they were very heavy on like, if you pray, like God can speak to you, you'll get visions and some shit. Just you know. And then they had this thing where they were gonna make each of us pray, and we were going to see what images came to our head. And then we would go to a Walmart and we'd look for that specific image and then pray for somebody near it. And so I sat for like 5 to 10 minutes trying to genuinely pray. Like, dude, can you fucking say something, like, ever? Like, even just like a fucking picture. And I got literally nothing. The closest I could, I mean, my mind was wandering, but nothing definitive. Like it was clearly and wholly me. Like it was entirely my thoughts. You know what I mean? The only thing I could think of that I kept coming back to, and I tried to convince myself it was God, but I was wishy-washy, was I kept seeing this like a really weird image of a lizard crawling around on like a brown box. And then we went to a Walmart and they saw a little toy lizard that, I mean, I saw, okay, in the image that I saw like some Geico looking shit, but like on 4 legs, like that sort of shade, crawling around on like almost like a little wooden chest, like about the size of like this specific piece of equipment there, just tiny, bit, like this high, open up. I don't even know what would have been inside it. I saw that. They saw like a toy lizard on in the toy aisle at Walmart. No brown boxes around anywhere, and they're like, oh shit, God is good, we found him. Prayed for a fucking stranger, and then spent the rest of the time like patting themselves on the back, like, look, see what God can do. I'm like, that's not God. Like, you think you're God. Like, you have convinced yourself that you are God. Nothing about that was godly. No, like, nobody was spoken to. That's not, I didn't see much, and what I did see wasn't fucking that. Like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it feels so much of it, I feel like it boils down to there is somewhat of an ego problem. And
Yeah.
there's a problem with, we can't just hear people out, and we can't just love and respect people in the ways that they want to be loved and respected. No, God, we think that like the thoughts that are coming into our head, like our thoughts are God talking to us. And it's not easy to distinguish those at all. Like even if God does talk,
Yeah.
and even if God does talk to people in that way, like the fallibility of humans, to me, it seems like the fallibility of humans will always be a factor in interpretation
Very
of
much true
those
that.
messages. And they're just, it's going to be heavily misinterpreted either way, even if not done intentionally. And even if it's interpreted right every now and then, like if your entire source of judgment and like the way that you decipher what is and isn't God is based off of your own thoughts, you're your own God, dude. Like you're not, like you don't have a God. You worship yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're singing, you're going to church and you're singing songs to your own fucking thoughts. You're singing songs to yourself because you genuinely think that you are one of the few people in the world who just has it right and everybody else is fucking wrong. They're misled. They're of the
That is
world.
true,
They're
though.
ungodly. That's what it all boils down to. Because people who don't let their ego intersect with their spirituality, you can fucking tell, and they're always fucking incredible. People who buy wholeheartedly into Christianity, not in that rigid, like this is what you have to do to get into heaven way, like this is just what has to be done. People who buy into Christianity and buy into the aspect of this is how I need to love other people, and this is how I need to live in order to bless myself, bless the people around me, and just be the absolute best version of myself that I can be. People who really try to emulate Jesus, you know, the motherfucker who the religion is supposed to be about in the first place, you can tell so easily whether or not somebody is Christian and actually worships their own fucking thoughts and worships their own ideologies and worships their own community and the community that they've formed within their church, and the people who actually worship their God, who worship Jesus and actually exhibit those fucking principles. And I feel like there's a stark contrast between the two, and I don't fuck with the people who see themselves as God, and I fuck heavily with the people who are just trying to love. Like my cousin, I'm thinking about starting a podcast with one of my cousins, but she's one of those people who's like, she's incredibly religious, but I mean, love just seeps out of her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I had another, like my grandmother was very similar in that way. And I see it in my mom often too. I don't see my mom as like, I'm not around my mom as much anymore, but like I've definitely seen it happen quite a bit. I feel like I didn't see it happen as much as it truly did because of like random teenage angst bullshit. I hate my mom. Like teenage years. But like when people are religious and when people are into spirituality because they want to love in the best way possible, they want to teach themselves to be the best version of themselves that they can be, both to themselves and to others, I think that's incredibly valuable. I think that's the intent of people. I think that's the intent of religion in the first place. Like, I don't think these texts
who are going about it with love, though.
Yeah, some people change like biblical texts, or even it's not exclusive to Christianity. Some people change it with horrible intentions. I think a lot of it is just accidentally misinterpreted, and the original intent was like, maybe this didn't actually happen. Maybe it is a parable. Maybe somewhat of it is metaphorical. Maybe some of it happened, but it's like hyperbolic in order to convey a point. But I think the original intent was a lot more pure-hearted than it is now, because I think we've allowed money to seep into the church as well. You know, we have world famous televangelist pastors, and there's a bunch of rich pastors and all that.
I feel like,
and we've allowed money to let us become
what
demonic.
corrupted religion was man-made.
Yes, entirely.
What corrupted religion
But
was
part of
man-made?
what made it beautiful is also man-made. Jesus is as man as he was God. The Bible was clear about that. Like, man is both. Like, we're both fucking awful and fucking incredible at the same time. Those two are not mutually exclusive. The difference is the difference is always money. The difference is always an obsession with money, an obsession with accumulating resources rather than accumulating and distributing as much love as possible, as much kindness and good faith as possible.
I feel like with the Bible, it got affected when envy got mixed in with it. When man got mixed with envy, those two are the worst combinations. Even a human and envy are not the best options with people, because envy could drive you crazy and make you do
Yeah.
crazy things.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I said that in whole, it's like that can lead to all sorts of corruption. Not even in just the Bible, in any type of circumstance.
Yeah, here's the thing, I don't think you can even I don't think you can become rich without being deeply envious. Because I don't think you'd have I can't imagine, maybe it's just because I'm not a sociopath, but I can't imagine any other motivation for just wanting to accumulate that much and
Yeah.
fucking hoard it other than you've seen people who've hoarded even more and you think that lifestyle looks kind of cool. Or you want the influence and the power that comes with it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like I can't think of any other motivation besides just envy and power. And I think envy is essentially, that's the root of that want of power.
That is the truth. It does some stuff to you.
So
Yeah.
I've cleared out my docket. Do you have anything else you want to fuss about before we
Oh my
wrap
gosh,
up?
yes. I want to tell you. You look like E.T.
I look like eats. I feel like I don't
No.
know. It's
But
my hair is
no, it
starting to
was-
come back normal. How do I? Let me see. I can't see this side of my hairline. Let me.
Oh my goodness.
It's
You still got the
starting to
fucked up
kinda-
hairline, but it's okay.
A little. This side isn't
Oh my
bad. I just have
goodness. No.
the mustache is fun. I'm shaving this mustache immediately after filming. I want to have one
goodness.
episode where I have a mustache and just I don't know. Do you
Yeah.
think the mustache looks good in your honest opinion? My roommates like it. I'm iffy on it. I don't really love it, but I think I would love it if I had a better hair situation.
I feel like if you have a style, and I'm not coming for you, I'm not being shady. If you had a type of you styled how you styled your hair, like if you
Yeah.
get it cut a specific way, you get your mustache trimmed and
Yeah.
shaped up by a barber, not handmade
Yeah.
and not hand done.
Well,
I
this
feel
one,
like you could do some.
me shaving my head wasn't style. It was literally just like, okay, I need to regrow this shit. I need to start over because
Like, I
my
feel
hair
like-
was dead from my
Honestly,
my
I
eating
feel like if
habits.
you shaved your head like you did last time and kept the mustache, oh, that would look clean.
I could see that. I think
that
it
would
is a
look
little,
fucking clean. But now with your hair growing back with that mustache, you look silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to fucking lie to you about that shit. But
I
no,
do. I look a little. I think I can see it better from this angle. It's a little.
I'm astonished of myself.
Yeah.
I am astonished that I am the person who I am today. I grew up basically feeling alone.
Yeah.
I grew up alone pretty much my whole life. In high school and middle school. Towards the end of high school, that started to end, but it started to gain back up freshman year of college.
Yep.
But for me, I can admit it, I was bullied in middle school. I was bullied in my first half of high school.
Yeah.
It was to the point where I felt really insecure, like I could not, and I was so bad begging for attention. I remember in middle school, they didn't like me because I was me. They didn't like me because I was not like them. It got to the point where it was just kid stuff, where it was just like they would throw these things and everything. I was always the one left out. I was the butt of every joke. I was in these type of group chats where people were sending pictures of basically African villagers who were in Africa and they were screenshotting the picture of their faces and were basically making me like that person, say I was laughing and everything. And it got to the point where I felt it as a person, it shuts you down to find out all this stuff is happening to you. I didn't that stuff happened when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
And then when I got to high school, I thought that was going to be in because it was like they're going to different high schools. It's cool. No, that transitioned into high school because those same people came to high school. I didn't start finding myself or finding who I am as a person until I was a junior, where I started to become a backbone. Yes, I may come across now as my humor. I always like to create a joke. I always like to laugh. But in my eyes, I feel like that is like a deflect of really expressing who I am, because it's like I try not to be hurt again.
Yeah.
And when I was I'd say when I met my best friend, his name is Jake. I met him in my freshman year of high school, but we didn't even start getting close until towards the end. Beginning, really, we got really close the summer of sophomore year, beginning our junior year. And it was like, okay, that was my friend and everything. When I went to college, he went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
I went to here. I had my friend named Evan, but Evan went to go rush.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt alone. The worst kind of fear I had was feeling alone because I didn't have nobody. And the group that we usually hung around, I thought we were cool, but they weren't. They were just, they acted my friend just for the fun of it, how I viewed it as.
Yeah.
And they go here too, but I don't pay them bitches no mind. I don't care. If you see me, fuck all of you. But anyway, that took a lot with me. I never got to the point where I thought of suicide, but it was always, insecures got the best of me, where it was like I would break down. Like it was every other day I was breaking down. It was with the bullying and I felt alienated.
Yeah.
With my mom being my mom created a lot of dysfunction in the family. And with that, I always had to go with her because I was her child, even though she basically didn't act like a mother. She was like, if I can't go, he can't go either.
Yeah.
And that basically alienated me from my cousins. To this day, it's hard still sometimes because it's like I have family, but I truly don't know my family.
Yeah.
Because my mom has cut me out of so much stuff. That really hurt because it was like I was alone. I was alone. And then when I came back and was living with my dad, I was in competition with my cousins. I was in competition with my cousin. On my dad's side, he has a sister, and and she had a son named well, I'm not saying his name, but
yeah,
he is 2 years younger than me. So we went to the same high school and everything, but we were always competing. My grandpa, my dad's father, he was not the nicest person. He said stuff that was just completely off field. But growing up, I was super skinny growing up as a kid until I got to middle school.
Yeah.
And then I gained a lot of weight. I've gained a lot of weight. And I will always get told, even from family members, you're big, you're fat. Look at your cousin who's skinny or who's muscular. You need to do something about yourself. You need to control what you eat. Or every time I picked up a plate, I always hear, you need to get something with this. You need to get something with this.
Yeah.
Make sure you get water. And that affected me a lot because it was like, they never came after my other my other cousins like that. So why was it just me?
Mm-hmm.
And and it took me a lot about my weight. It really did hurt because it was like, I get it from random strangers, but family, that took a toll. And when I got to college my freshman year, I when my friend went to Rush, and again, like said, it was basically alone. I did not know anybody. And that feeling that sparked up depression. It really brought up some like dark depression, and it was like I felt defenseless. That's the worst thing I feel like. If I feel like defenseless, my automatic thing is I break down.
Yeah.
And I try not to, because I feel like that is not that it's not tough, but but I learned now today it's okay to break down. But it took all of that happened in my life to realize that I am who I am. I am happy. I am glad that the new people who walked into my life. I mean, after freshman year, after meeting you guys, I met you, and then when I started working at Walmart, I met my two of my closest friends, Kaya and Aiden, who I laugh and who always ask me about my day, and I always ask about they were like, and you, who, of course, who is a close friend of mine.
Damn right.
Who I was surprised with you though, because I just thought you were the too cool for school guy.
I am not. When
I first met you,
I'm not a normal person, bro. Like interactions with me are so fucking weird. I don't know how to make
when I first met you, I didn't talk to you because I was trying to understand you first, because I thought you were a too cool for school guy. You ran in
like
there.
you just what? That's part of the reason why. Like I feel like that's part of the. Like that's kind of a double-edged sword, because like interactions with me are like I interact with a lot of people and like in a memorable way, but like also I feel like if I don't know, I'm just so like I very much operate at Carson pace pretty much all the time, and like I'm considerate now, but I also know that like if I can do my own shit and it doesn't affect you, like I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah, and it didn't start until after you became my big that we started getting close, like real close as good friends. And that's when I realized, okay, you aren't actually genuine good person.
Yeah, God, remember when we were in a fucking frat together?
Oh, Lord.
That shit was way back in the day. I miss a lot of the. I miss some of the people. Well, I feel bad. I mean, it had
you experienced the fun times of it, because I got the brunt of the, I guess you want to call it the end times.
Well, even for reference, y'all, we were in a co-ed community service frat that like it died while we were in, like it's on its very last breath right now. And honestly, even the last semester, like it was obvious that it was ending. I miss those people. I do. Like I miss interacting with, I think I might call up Molly soon. I miss interacting with Molly because she's fucking dope. I miss Caroline. I was trying to plan out a show to see with Caroline. I might still actually. I think there's something at the end of April. I might go with her. Yasmin, obviously, she was my first episode on here. That's how I met her. And then people who I even see in passing, like I don't know if you know Elle or people like that, and I'm so fucking sorry anybody that I'm forgetting, but like I know like hearing their name, like I know exactly what my reaction would be, because I do like those motherfuckers.
No, it's like, if I one thing, I feel bad how I ended things with Molly, because it was like a tense time where I had to drop out of APO, but it was like with all the stuff with his name, but it was just
we might be getting too specific.
It was like it was my time to leave. But it was like but for now, today, I am proud of who I am and proud of the person I am. I've been doing a lot. I've been expressing, and I really advocate for anybody. Take care of your mental health, people. As much as it seems scary, it is okay. You're not the only one struggling with it. It is okay to talk to somebody about it. It's okay to pull someone aside. Hey, I'm honestly not okay. what I learned to do with mine is I started to journal. I really did. And what I really like to do is just go into like Boomer or go into like the parks,
Yeah.
just sit in there and just start writing my feelings out. I told myself when I get an adult, I want to write a book. And basically
Do it.
what I want to put, basically what I have in my journal in a book, because I want to inspire.
Yeah.
But it's just like, but right now it's like I still got I still got a whole lot of chapters to go in my life. So it's like, I don't know. It's seeing, but yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you for being here today.
No problem.
I feel like this was a solid episode. I definitely got a bit more footage than I intended to, but
you got a lot of footage.
I told myself, Carson, you're gonna cut off filming no matter what. At 80 minutes, I think I have 3 hours of footage.
We got here at 2. It is
8 o'clock. Or hold on, that clock is wrong, isn't it? No, it's 7:55. Okay, like the motherfuckers who watch the video don't realize, like, I work, bro.
We've been here for a minute.
It's
like,
but
oh my goodness.
I don't know.
But it's like time got away from us. We were just talking.
It always does here. It's always dope. But thank you for being here. This was
Thank you.
This was a quality episode. I don't have that camera cued, so look at your camera. Say bye.
Bye, you guys.
Okay. Y'all can fuck off now. Bye.
Oh.
And I